Chapter 3943. Next, Lin Xian and Whitey worked together. Whitey was very fast and could stun people. Coupled with Lin Xian's super strong sword skills, the two of them were equally matched. Both of them attacked each other. Boom! After the eldest brother of Tianshan sect, the second brother of Tianshan sect was also knocked out by a slap. The second brother's head flew up again. Poof! Lin Xian pushed the Tai Chi diagram with his right hand, sending the fourth brother and the sixth brother flying. Then he appeared in front of the fifth brother of Tianshan sect. Whitey knocked him out with a slap, and Lin Xian attacked again. The fifth brother's body was cut in half at the waist. Next, Lin Xian was like a god fiend, killing everyone in his way. The 7 swords of Tianshan sect were beaten up miserably. The surrounding people were all stunned. They were terrified. The 7 swords of Tianshan sect were extremely powerful. When the 7 of them worked together, no one below the small saint level could stop them. But now they were beaten up so miserably. Boom! He kicked out like a divine sword, filled with the aura of the great dragon sword soul. The 7th brother of Tianshan sect was kicked into pieces. Lin Xian's murderous aura was monstrous, and his sword chi was rampant. He was fighting against the 7 sword saints. He was extremely powerful and did not hold back at all. Retreat quickly. The eldest brother of the 7 swords of Tianshan sect roared crazily. The others also retreated quickly. They retreated far away and began to recover from their injuries. Every one of them was in a miserable state. Even if they recovered, their faces were pale and their aura had weakened a lot. They were no longer in their best condition. They looked ahead and gritted their teeth. To be honest, they never thought that they would have such a day. Everyone, let's attack together. Don't you want to kill him too? The 7th brother of Tianshan sect said coldly. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were stunned. What's going on? Are the 7 swords of Tianshan sect ganging up on him this time? However, the 7 swords of Tianshan sect always fought with numbers. However, this sword technique alone should not be able to do anything to Lin Wuti. They should need the help of others. Everyone gasped. The 7 swords of Tianshan sect had been forced to such a state. It was probably their first time seeing it. Let's attack together. The surrounding people all sucked in a deep breath. They knew that this time they had to take down Lin Wuti and obtain the fortune in his hands. This was the best chance they had. Very well, let's attack together. In an instant, the experts of the holy city stepped forward. The space between heaven and earth was filled with people. Fine. Since you're courting death, I'll send you to heaven. Lin Xian roared as the 9 suns' divine flame burned fiercely on his body. Rebirth of lust. He used his self-created great divine ability, and the wounds on his body were quickly healed. The power he consumed was also absorbed by him. The surrounding yin and yang qi quickly recovered, and the taiji diagram floated above his head. His strength had recovered to its peak. We can't give him any more chances. Kill him quickly. The surrounding people quickly rushed over. Lei Shancheng and the people from Demon City took the lead, and the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain charged out once again. All of a sudden, an explosion ensued. It was incomparably terrifying. All sorts of great chaos interweaved between heaven and earth. Lin Xian was incomparably domineering. His attacks were bold and powerful. Little White also appeared and disappeared like a ghost. It kept knocking out the people around it. Even so, there were too many people attacking this time. Although Lin Xian was strong, he was still injured. Cracks appeared on his body. Golden saint blood flowed out, dyeing his body red. However, his eyes were getting brighter and brighter. He was in a killing frenzy. Every move was so simple. There were no fancy moves. This was the simplicity of the great Tao. Although there were no confusing moves, the power was unparalleled. Boom! It was at this moment that the void tore open as a gigantic palm made of lightning appeared and slapped down on Lin Xian. It sent Lin Xian flying. Boom! Lin Xian felt that the bones in his back were about to break. Obviously, this was a late-stage fifth heaven expert, and he should have used a sacred artifact. As expected, the thunderous palm in the sky was extremely terrifying. Its aura was pervasive. Not only that, if one looked closely, one could see that the palm was wearing a pair of gloves. Obviously, the gloves were a sacred artifact. Therefore, the power of this palm was incomparably terrifying. The person who attacked was also shocked. His sudden attack hit the other party with all his strength, but it only sent the other party flying. Not even a crack appeared on the other party's body. Only some bones were broken. It was too inconceivable. This physique terrified him. Die! Another roar was heard. The hidden expert of Thunder God City attacked. The thunderbolt in the sky, together with a pair of gloves, mercilessly descended once again. The power of this attack was even more terrifying than the previous ones. Humph! Lin Xian's body was covered in flames as he punched out. The golden fist turned into the sun and blasted on the thunderous palm. The two collided and sparks flew everywhere. The solar law on the golden fist burned fiercely. It blasted away the terrifying solar law, causing cracks to appear on the palm. At the same time, Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he locked onto that person. He turned into a sword light, broke through the void, and attacked the other party. That person was terrified. He didn't expect the other party to discover him so quickly. Moreover, the other party's strength made his entire arm numb. He could only retreat quickly. At the same time, the surrounding people attacked again. However, Lin Xian was still not afraid. He stared at the Taiji diagram behind him and forcefully blocked it. He vomited blood, but he still charged forward. With a sword, he split that person apart. His soul was directly destroyed by his spring-autumn lock. With a miserable scream, the corpse of the expert of Thunder God City fell down, causing everyone's scalp to go numb. Lin Xian was still able to easily kill the enemy amidst so many pursuers. This made them terrified. Next, Lin Xian was even more powerful. Although he was injured, he relied on his powerful divine body to forcefully block all of the attacks. In addition, the surroundings were filled with yin and yang qi. He could use the Taiji diagram to absorb them without limit. Therefore, his combat strength had always been at its peak and had not decreased. The great dragon sword soul in his body also seemed to have come alive, opening and closing wide. In the end, the endless corpses of the saints fell in pieces. The void was completely shattered, and there was even a rain of blood falling. The death of so many saints was truly an earth-shattering event. In the end, those people were scared to death. Kill him. He was a demon. These people fled, frantically, and they didn't dare to make a move anymore. Previously, they gave Lin Xian the title of Great Demon King only because Lin Xian was too strong. But they believed that if they attacked together, any kind of prodigy wouldn't be a match. But now, Lin Xian's combat strength really frightened them. This was simply a god mercilessly harvesting their lives. No matter how injured the other party was, the other party would be able to survive and not die. However, they couldn't block the other party's attack at all. Chapter 3944. Whether it was the sword Qi, the laws of yin and yang, or all of them at the same time, they would definitely die if they came into contact with it. Many people from the sacred city were scared out of their wits and fled in terror. For a moment, there was a vacuum around Lin Xian, and no one dared to go up again. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain were not having a good time either, although they were powerful, and the 7 swords were unparalleled. Although they were powerful, they had met their match. Their opponent's sword was stronger than theirs, and it even carried an indomitable aura. They had been hit a few times, but they could not heal completely. The sword Qi that flowed from their wounds shocked them. What kind of trump card did their opponent have to be able to use such a sword? For a moment, the atmosphere was extremely silent. Although the people around had surrounded Lin Xian, no one dared to attack rashly. Lin Xian's face was also cold. Although he had killed many experts and made everyone tremble in fear, he was not in a good condition either. After all, there were so many experts fighting here, and he had already been seriously injured. However, he had a divine body and his physique was strong. In addition, the yin and yang around him could provide him with energy. That was why he could hold on until now. However, if he continued to fight, he could not guarantee that his foundation would not be damaged and he might die. After all, the experts from the other halls were also rushing over. If a few more people like the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain came, he would really be in danger. Therefore, he had to kill until these people were terrified and no one dared to attack again. He stared at the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. These 7 people were the most powerful among these people, and they were also the most representative. If he could kill the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain, then the others would probably not dare to attack again. Thinking of this, Lin Xian turned his head and stared at the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. Boom! He turned into the shadow of a dragon and rushed forward. When the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain saw this, their eyelids twitched and their faces became extremely ugly. To be honest, if someone dared to provoke them, they would sneer and ignore it. But now, they were scared out of their wits. They did not even want to fight with the other party. The other party was really too strong. They were all injured now, and some of them were even almost cut in half. However, it was simply impossible for them to escape in front of so many people. Therefore, they could only bite the bullet. The eldest of the Heavenly Mountain said coldly he could not be invincible. After being attacked by so many people until now, he was already seriously injured. He should be relying on secret techniques and pills to hold on. If he held on for a while longer, he would definitely die. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain attacked again. All sword chi, the surrounding people who were watching nervously. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. If the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain, then they really would not dare to attack again. However, they were of Heavenly Mountain. Although Lin Xian was injured in the battle, 2 of the 7 swords of Tianshan had died. The 2 sword saints were completely killed. Their souls were shattered by Lin Xian's dragon sword spirit. He would never be able to revive again. Heavenly of heavenly, 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 sort of heavenly swords. Of theirs were of be, of, they soft, theirs of heavenly, of have off, have heavenly time. Damn it, they of them. 4th and 5th of the Heavenly Mountain roared crazily, but the eyes of the eldest of the Heavenly Mountain were red. Let's go. He knew that they were no match for Lin Wuti now. If they continued to fight, they might be wiped out. 2nd of the Heavenly Mountain also said, "Okay, listen to Big Brother and retreat. Let's hurry to the Palace of All Life and hone our sword laws again. When we break through, it will be the time of Lin Wuti's death." The 5 of them turned into streams of light and instantly tore through the void and left. When they left, they wanted to take the bodies of 6th and 7th with them. However, they were stopped by Lin Xian. One of 5th of the Heavenly Mountain's arms was cut off. "Lin Wuti, just you wait. The 10,000 Swords Pavilion will not let you off." The voices of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain could be heard. Their figures disappeared into the void. The surrounding people were completely terrified, defeated. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain were really defeated. 2 of their swords were killed. This was really an earth-shattering event. The surrounding people fled, frantically. Lin Xian roared angrily, "You want to escape? Go to hell." He activated Tai Chi to the extreme. At the same time, he poured all the power of the Heavenly Dragon Sword soul into Tai Chi. The surrounding yin-yang aura was completely mobilized, turning into yin-yang swords one after another. They swept across the world. The entire yin-yang hall was covered by Lin Xian's Tai Chi diagram. The Yin Saint sword was extremely powerful. How could those sages block it? Those who were hit by the sword chi were directly shattered. Some were lucky, and their souls were able to escape. Some were even pierced through by the sword chi. They were directly killed. Between heaven and earth, ghosts wailed and wolves howled. Blood splattered everywhere. Everyone was extremely miserable. Lin Xian looked at this scene coldly from the sky like a god fiend. If he wanted to kill, no one here would dare to provoke him. Finally, the Yin swords disappeared. 70% of the people that attacked were killed. As for the remaining 30%, they were seriously injured and had to quickly flee. They would never dare to enter the Yin Hall again in their lives. Lin Xian sat cross-legged in the Yin Hall. His body was surrounded by endless Yin Qi. It began to repair. He had been seriously injured in this battle, so he had to recover quickly. There were still many people outside the Yin Hall. Those who wanted to enter the Yin Hall had to cultivate a heavenly Tao golden lotus. Not everyone could condense a heavenly Tao golden lotus. Although many people entered, there were even more who couldn't. These people were discussing curiously outside. They felt the terrifying aura from the Yin Hall. They didn't know what had happened. Soon, they saw a group of people rushing out in a sorry state. Every one of them was injured, and some of them even came out with broken bodies. Some said that they had turned into a bloody mist. Some even escaped with their souls. What had happened? These people were terrified. The people from the surrounding halls rushed over. They wanted to rush in too. However, those people said to leave quickly. The people inside were all dead. Lin Wuti had started a massacre. 2 of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain had been killed. Did they still want to die? As soon as those words came out, the surrounding people were completely stunned. What? Lin Wuti killed 2 of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain? Nearly 70% of the sages inside had died. What did Lin Wuti do? Impossible. Even a small saint might not be able to do that. Someone shook his head. A person was killed until only his soul was left. He hugged a saint artifact and said coldly, "We experienced it ourselves. How could it be fake?" Lin Wuti controlled the power of the Yin origin. He was like a god in the Yin Hall. Not to mention small saints. Even small saints would be killed by him. After saying that, he left without looking back. The others were stunned. Lin Wuti controlled the power of the Yin origin. Just how terrifying was that? Damn it. He actually obtained such a great opportunity. Some of the experts in the sacred city were instantly envious. Chapter 39:45. We don't dare to go in, but we can wait here, right? Yes, he can't stay in there forever. He'll definitely come out. As long as he's out of the Yin Palace, he won't be that powerful anymore. They started to wait outside the Yin Palace. The 4 palaces also received the news. Those who were cultivating inside were also in an uproar. In the heavenly palace, a figure opened his eyes in the endless sea of lightning. Lin Wuti, you've obtained the power of Yin and Yang. He couldn't wait any longer and came out of the sea of lightning. This person was Lei Zhen. He wanted to continue cultivating, but he wasn't in the mood now. Lin Wuti had become stronger and obtained the power of Yin and Yang. He couldn't eat or sleep well. He had to find Lin Wuti and kill him. He heard that Lin Wuti was severely injured. He rushed out of the heavenly palace and came outside. His powerful aura made people tremble. God, that's Lei Zhen. He's so powerful. The lightning on his body has become even more terrifying. I heard that Lei Zhen also obtained a great opportunity in the heavenly palace. It seems that it's true. God, his aura has reached the later stages of the 5th heaven. The people around him screamed in fear. Previously, Lei Zhen was already so violent when he was at the middle stages of the 5th heaven. It wasn't a problem for him to fight a sage at the later stages. Now that he's a sage at the later stages of the 5th heaven, how powerful is he? Compared to the past, there had probably been an earth-shattering change. "Where's Lin Wuti?" Lei Zhen asked coldly. The people from the Thunder God City were there too. They rushed out of the crowd. "He's still in the Yinyang Palace." "Senior brother, why don't we go in?" someone suggested. Someone shook his head. "No, that kid has obtained the power of Yin and Yang. He's like a god in the Yinyang Palace. Senior brother, why don't we wait here? He'll definitely die if he comes out." "All right, we'll wait outside." Lei Jin didn't dare to go in rashly. After all, some of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain had died. He would be suppressed if he went in. In the Earth Palace, the North Demon was overjoyed when he heard the news. The 9 Chilant's face turned gloomy when he heard the news. He walked out of the blood pool. The primordial phantom behind him merged with his body, making the light of the laws on his body even more dazzling and terrifying. His cultivation had also broken through to the late stage of the 5th heavenly layer. Lei Zhen has already gone to the Yinyang Hall. Should we go too? If Lei Zhen obtains the Yinyang source energy, it will be disadvantageous to us. A few great demons in front of him spoke in deep voices. Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. Invincible Lin? He had good fortune, but so what? He had good fortune, so did I. There was a strong sense of confidence in his eyes. We're not in a hurry. Lin Wuti has killed so many saints that he's probably seriously injured himself. We'll be in the Yinyang Hall for a long time. If we go now, we'll just be wasting time. Then we'll go and keep an eye on them. We'll take action when there's news. The great demon said. The eyes of the 9 Chilants glinted coldly. He must be severely injured, so we have to act immediately. Where are the void beasts? One of the void beasts in the human palace said. Hurry up and find him. Tell him to open the space and send us directly to that kid. I'll kill him while he's down. They acted quickly. In the human palace, the Crimson Dragon, Murong Qingqing, and the others were also shocked when they heard the news. That kid might be in danger, so they had to hurry over. They stopped cultivating. They all prepared to rush over. Some people in the sacred city gritted their teeth. So many saints and experts had died. Their hearts were bleeding, especially those from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. When they learned that Huafeng and 2 sword saints of the 7 swords of Tianshan Mountain had been killed, they were completely enraged. Damn it, Invincible Lin. Does he want to die? No one has ever dared to provoke them. Should we report this to Senior Brother Wan? Someone asked. One of the figures stepped forward and said coldly, there was no need. Senior Brother Wan's enemies were only those on the pilgrim roll. She didn't need to worry about Invincible Lin. Yes, that's right. We can deal with him. Another figure stood up. The sword chi on his body was unparalleled. It seems that some people have forgotten the prestige of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Gather all the people we can. It seems that it's time for us to act again and kill everything. These people were filled with killing intent. Soon they began to move. They gathered the other sword saints of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. They wanted to use the strongest method to kill Invincible Lin. Outside the celestial fate planet, the elders of the sacred city were waiting there. They didn't know what was going on inside. Yes, it had been a few years. Everyone should have gained some fortune by now. Don't worry. Every time someone came out, their strength would increase greatly. Some would even soar to the sky. The elders chatted and discussed with each other. All they had to do was wait silently. But on this day, the situation changed. Some of the elders screamed. How was that possible? It turned out that they weren't just waiting this time. They had also brought some souls with them. These souls retained a wisp of their souls when they entered the celestial fate planet. As long as their soul tablets were intact, it meant that they were still alive. But on this day, the soul tablets in their hands shattered on a large scale. Damn it, what was going on? This meant that a large number of people had died inside. And at the same time, could it be that some unexpected change had occurred inside? Or did someone rise to power? Impossible. Even if someone rose to power, they couldn't have killed so many people. I think there must have been an unexpected change. Perhaps some terrifying creatures in the ancient ruins have been resurrected. The elders' expressions were ugly. They didn't know how many people would die inside this time. They didn't know that this wasn't the work of a beast, but a person. However, they would have to wait until the celestial fate star opened to find out. By then, no one would know how many of the sacred city's experts would be able to come out alive. The atmosphere in the Golden Palace was extremely tense. However, the inside of the Inyan Palace was extremely strange, because the inside of the Inyan Palace was empty and there was no one around. But there was a person who was busy there. He was actually eating the golden rock. 2 huge roasted wings were there, and the figure began to eat. It was Lin Xian. He had killed so many experts before. He was also heavily injured, so he quickly recovered here. Fortunately, he had the longevity art and his divine body, so his injuries healed quickly. But there were still some injuries that needed to be healed. Lin Xian thought of the golden rock. The golden rock was a top expert. Its flesh and blood could heal his injuries faster. It was even more useful than treasures. Chapter 3946. Without another word, Lin Xian began to roast the golden rock. The energy inside was converted by his longevity art and began to repair his body. In the end, the 2 huge roasted wings were finished, and Lin Xian burped. The multicolored light on his body flew out again. He activated the Taiji art and absorbed the yin and yang qi again. He sat down cross-legged and began to repair himself. Not long after, he actually finished the huge roasted golden rock. It was really unbelievable. One had to know that he was not inferior to the Golden Crow Prince. Back then, when they ate the Golden Crow Prince's roasted meat, many of them ate together, but they only ate half of it. But now, Lin Xian had single-handedly taken care of one. Of course, there were 2 possibilities. Firstly, Lin Xian's strength had increased, and he could carry more energy. Secondly, his injuries required too much energy to heal. That was why he ate one alone. After eating, 70% of his injuries had healed, and some of them were fine. Lin Xian did not go out. He wanted to adjust his body to its peak state before going out. Moreover, he knew that there must be a storm outside. Who knew how many people were fighting to kill him? He might as well wait here. Perhaps he could counterattack. In the following days, Lin Xian began to recover and cultivate again. However, on this day, the void behind him suddenly shattered, and a few palms reached out and hit him. Some of the palms were shining with terrifying light, and some were holding sacred artifacts. Lin Xian was sent flying by the attack. His body was shattered once again, and golden blood flowed out of his wounds. What was going on? Lin Xian was in great pain. He was extremely shocked. Did someone sneak in to kill him? Who was it? Why didn't he know at all? His soul instantly probed out, but he was stunned because he realized that there was nothing there. It was chaos. How was that possible? Lin Xian was shocked. But all of a sudden, the void behind him was torn open again, and a few more palms carrying sage artifacts struck out. This time, Lin Xian had a defense, so he activated Taiji to resist. At the same time, he retreated. Boom! The Tai Chi diagram was sent flying, and Lin Xian's chi and blood roiled again. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood. Damn it! Lin Xian's face darkened. Space divine ability. It wasn't that there wasn't anyone around. Rather, they were using a supreme spatial law to deal with him. He had encountered such a situation once before. Demon City. Lin Xian instantly recalled that a space magic beast had attacked him in the Demon City before. Back then, Black Mountain had said that it should be the Void Beast. Now, it seemed like it was the same Void Beast. However, its power was much stronger than before. After sending the Taiji diagram flying, the spatial rift disappeared again. The surroundings were quiet. No one knew where the next attack would come from. Lin Xian was standing there. There was a huge crack on his back. His bones were shattered and his flesh was badly mangled. At this moment, he was using the second stage of yin-yang to repair it. It was too mysterious. Fortunately, the other party was still a little late. If it was right after he finished a great battle, he might really be in danger. Now he had eaten a golden rock. His injuries had already recovered by 80%. So even if he wasn't at his peak, he still had the strength to fight. However, the other party's spatial magic was too strange. Lin Xian placed the Tai Chi diagram, floating. It struck down the yin and yang qi. It enveloped his body. At the same time, the Fecta divine art released a light that swept in all directions. However, at this moment, under his feet, a spatial rift appeared. Terrifying rays of light and laws surged out from the crack and rushed towards him. In an instant, Lin Xian moved horizontally. However, he was still enveloped by the energy. He blocked it. Lin Xian's body bloomed. At the same time, the Tai Chi diagram rotated. The Tai Chi diagram directed all of this power to another space. Lin Xian dodged. However, his expression became even colder. Damn it. In the next moment, he began to use the void escape and disappeared. However, his void escape was only an ordinary spatial magic. It was useful against other saints, but in front of an expert who was proficient in spatial laws, his void escape was still not enough. As expected, the other party found him again. He was beaten out of the void. Damn it, these people were too sinister. There were clearly several experts, but they actually used such a despicable method. Lin Xian's expression was cold. He had to break the other party's spatial magic. Otherwise, he was really too passive. Thinking of this, his nerves tensed up. Suddenly, he activated the Tai Chi diagram and released a terrifying yin and yang sword chi. The entire space was completely enveloped by him, sweeping through everything. The endless void shattered and turned into a black hole, but no one came out. It seemed that the other party's spatial magic was very strong. Originally, he wanted to shatter a space and let the other party out, but it seemed that the other party had dodged it. This method didn't work. It seemed that he had to think of another way. Lin Xian stood in the void, protected by the Tai Chi diagram. He wanted to fight, to defend, and counterattack. He had already thought of a way. Just like that, after a period of time, a crack suddenly appeared on the top of his head. The terrifying energy poured down again, enveloping Lin Xian. Lin Xian didn't dodge this time. Instead, he took out the Great Sage Pagoda in an instant. There was a clang. He used the Great Sage Pagoda to defend. Although those people's attacks were strong, the Great Sage Pagoda was an unparalleled Great Sage artifact. The power hit the Great Sage Pagoda, producing an earth-shaking sound. This power was blocked. Not only that, Lin Xian even used stellar transposition to repel this power. Lin Xian also seized this opportunity to send a few dragon-shaped sword chi into it. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Although the spatial crack was strange, it was still a little slow this time, especially the appearance of the Great Sage Pagoda, which caught them off guard. That power caused their blood to churn. The spatial crack was a step too late. A few sword chi rushed in, and immediately there were screams and blood dripping from the sky. However, in the next instant, the spatial crack disappeared, and the world fell silent again. Lin Xian's lips curled into a cold smile. Since they were injured, it would be easy to deal with. He activated his heavenly secret god eyes and began to look around. However, he didn't find any traces of blood. It seemed that the other party's spatial divine ability was indeed very exquisite. Moreover, the person who attacked must be an expert. He must have wiped away the blood in an instant. It made it impossible for him to search. But so what? Lin Xian wasn't looking for those people's injuries, but the dragon soul's aura. He had used the dragon's sword soul to attack, so the other party might not be able to destroy it in a short time. Sure enough, He could sense the aura of the great dragon, Sword Soul, far behind him. Moreover, it was so far away that he was stunned. Chapter 3947. Aren't they being too cautious? No wonder he couldn't hurt them when he shattered the entire space. The distance was too far. Lin Xian's face darkened. He didn't know who was scheming against him, but he had to fight back now. Although the distance was far, it wasn't a problem for him. Moreover, he used the Tai Chi diagram to change instantly. The yin-yang aura in the distance and the terrifying yin-yang sword pierced through the space. Lin Xian rushed over as well. Nine-headed Kailin, the void beast, and the others hid in the void. Their eyes were cold. They were the ones who attacked previously. Nine-headed Kailin summoned the void beast back and led the three demons on their way. The void beast's space mystique and bloodline were terrifying. Especially this time, he had activated his bloodline and obtained a transformation. His space mystique was even more terrifying than before. Hence, he tore open the void with nine-headed Kailin and the others. They were transported from the Earth Palace to the Yin-Yang Palace. And then it happened. What happened next? The few of them used their space mystique to injure Lin Wuti. They hid in the void and sneered. Lin Wuti couldn't fight back at all. If they weren't in the Yin-Yang Palace, he would have been dead. Young Master, this kid has obtained a transformation of Yin-Yang. He can control the Yin-Yang aura around him. Moreover, the Yin-Yang image gave us a sense of terror. The three demons said. Nine-headed Kailin's face was cold. Indeed, the Yin-Yang diagram made him fearful. Hence, he said to attack. They kept attacking, but they didn't expect to make a mistake this time. Lin Wuti took out a pagoda to block their attacks. The shockwave made their blood boil. Moreover, Lin Wuti took the opportunity to attack with a few streaks of sword chi, injuring one of the demons. Be careful, Nine-headed Kailin said coldly. This kid has a powerful eye technique. He wants to use blood to track us down. Don't worry, Your Highness. He won't be able to track us down. That demon quickly recovered from his injuries and wiped out all the blood. However, they had underestimated the aura of the dragon's sword spirit. Lin Wuti thought that he had recovered, but there was still a trace of the dragon's sword spirit's 7 breaths. Hence, Lin Xian found them. Boom! They felt the boundless sword chi slamming into the space around them, causing the space to shatter. Their blood boiled. What's going on? Have I been discovered? That was impossible. He must have done it randomly. The few of them were horrified. The void beast, on the other hand, activated its space mystique and left the area. However, in the next moment, a Taiji diagram ruthlessly smashed into their bodies. With a bang, several people fell out of the void with a blank look on their faces. What was going on? He was hit again. That was impossible. The void beast was also in pain. His body tumbled in the air and then disappeared. Nine-headed Qilin and the others who had been knocked out disappeared once again. Lin Xian withdrew the Taiji diagram, his face turning cold. Nine-headed Qilin and the people from Thousand Demon City. It was them. Lin Xian knew that once the news spread, these people would definitely make a move. But what he didn't expect was that the other party would directly use a spatial god art to teleport to his side. It seemed that this void beast was really a huge threat. He had to get rid of it as soon as possible. Golden light flashed in his eyes as he searched again. In the next moment, he attacked forcefully. In the space, Nine-headed Qilin and the others were extremely gloomy. Damn it! The other party had discovered their tracks. That was unbelievable. That kid must be dreaming. One of the void beasts gritted his teeth. The other two nodded. That's right. How could he find them? They wouldn't be injured anymore. Just as they finished speaking, they were sent flying, coughing up blood. How was that possible? The 3 void beasts were stunned. They couldn't believe it. They were now on the back of the void beast. With the terrifying power of space, the other party couldn't find them at all. However, the outcome was beyond their expectations. The other party had sent them flying again. Nine-headed Cheelant's face turned cold. What was going on? He looked at the void beast. The void beast was in the sky. He said, "I don't know. Maybe he sensed the blood from before?" "That's impossible." The void beast screamed. "I've already wiped out the blood." Their bodies disappeared again, but not long after, they were sent flying again. This time they were more severely injured. Lin Xian swung the great sage pagoda and attacked the other party. Since the other party had used despicable means, he didn't need to hold back. No, the other party was too strange. That technique could see through my divine ability. The void beast's face turned cold. To be honest, his bloodline had improved and his spatial divine ability had become stronger. He could kill people like a ghost. Even a small saint might not be able to find his tracks. But now, the other party had easily caught his tracks. Nine-headed Cheelant's face turned cold. He said to the injured void beast, "Leave us first." "Your Highness, you won't abandon me, right?" The void beast's face turned ugly. "No. Run away immediately after you leave. You don't have to participate." The void beast heaved a sigh of relief. It was fine as long as he wasn't used as bait. He didn't dare to go against Lin Wudi's power. He left the void beast and fled frantically. The injured void beast was going to leave. This way, the other party wouldn't be able to find them. The few of them thought. Sure enough, Lin Xian could feel the dragon soul's aura rushing out from the void beast and into the distance. Have I been seen through? His eyes were filled with killing intent. Since that's the case, I won't hold back anymore. Kill. Yin and Yang's sword chi fell from the sky and shrouded the void beast. There was a loud boom. The void beast roared crazily. He wanted to resist, but he was instantly pierced by countless Yin and Yang sword chi. Lin Xian didn't kill the void beast. The Yin and Yang sword chi turned into chains and hung the void beast in midair. Lin Xian's figure flashed and appeared in front of the void beast. He said coldly, "Nine-headed Cheelan, I see you." "Not coming out? If you don't come out, this void beast will be tortured to death by me." Having said that, the laws of Yin and Yang revolved. The void beast screamed crazily. Damn it. In the void beast, Nine-headed Cheelan and the others' faces turned ugly. The two void beasts' eyes turned red. Damn it, how dare he attack us? Damn it, does he want to die? How dare he torture our companion? He deserves to die. Go and kill him. The two of them wanted to attack. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. They couldn't take it anymore. Nine-headed Cheelan said, "Stop. This kid can control the power of Yin and Yang here. He's not someone we can fight against. Now we can only fight against him with our space mystique. We can't go out." Chapter 3948. What? 9 heads, Cheelan. You don't have the guts to come out? Lin Xian sneered and continued to use Yin Yang 27 to torture the great demon. A pitiful cry could be heard in the air. 9 heads, Cheelan's face was cold. "I'll go out and attract that kid's attention. You guys attack from the shadows." He walked out. He said coldly, "Kid, let go of my people." "You actually dare to come out." Lin Xian narrowed his eyes and waved his hand, chopping off the great demon's head. Then he looked at 9 heads, Cheelan. "He will end up like you." Lin Xian rushed forward. At this moment, the void broke open and a terrifying power surged towards him. Lin Xian sneered. "I've been waiting for you." He took out the great sage pagoda and blocked the power. At the same time, he took out the great dragon sword soul and slashed forward. This sword was really too violent. The space was instantly sliced apart. The great void beast felt danger. It was as if the sword chi could threaten him. What sword technique is this? He was terrified. He used his spatial mystique to the extreme and instantly shuttled through the void. Among the countless laws, space was the king. This was recognized by everyone. Therefore, the great void beast had absolute confidence that he could use his spatial mystique to dodge all attacks. He was invincible. But this time he was wrong. Because even though he used his spatial mystique to dodge countless attacks, he was still unable to dodge. But he couldn't dodge Lin Xian's slash. No matter which space he shuttled to, the void would be shattered and the sword qi would envelop him. With a swoosh, the sword qi slashed his body. Damn it! The heavenly void beast tossed the two greater demons on his body away. Then he went crazy. Block it. The power of space distorted, trying to coax the sword qi to sleep. Boom! In the end, his bloodline power exploded and he escaped. But he was still injured. His tail was chopped off. The originally transparent tail was stained with blood and was instantly dyed red. Lin Xian's eyes lit up when he saw this. Good stuff. He let the great dragon sword spirit sweep up the broken tail and instantly rushed back. Damn it, how dare you! 9 heads Qilin roared. He didn't expect the great void beast to be injured. This was too unbelievable. He couldn't let Lin Fan get the great void beast's body. If Lin Fan had some method to study the laws of space, it would be bad. So he attacked. The other 2 greater demons struck out swiftly as well. Instantly, all sorts of horrifying auras gushed out. Lin Xian roared. The Taiji diagram spun in all directions. The entire yin-yang hall seemed to have been activated by him. Countless yin and yang auras descended. The swords of yin and yang were indomitable, capable of destroying everything in their path. Damn it, the 2 greater demons were instantly injured. Many sword wounds appeared on their bodies, and they screamed in terror. But he was much stronger. He was. Damn it. Just like the rumors said, the yin-yang hall was the enemy's territory. There was simply no way for them to contend against him. Without the spatial demonic beasts, their lives would be in danger. On the other side, the great void beast was going crazy. He had never been injured because no one could hurt him. But now he had lost a part of his tail. It was a great humiliation. He was a rare beast. He knew the laws of space, but there were limitations. His body and bloodline couldn't recover as easily as other sages. After all, the blood of space was precious. His skin could be made into a spatial weapon. It was very precious. So, once he was injured, the injury would stop immediately. However, it would take a long time for his broken tail to grow back. He couldn't stand it. He had to get his tail back. He only held back his blood and completely hid in the void. This time, he was going to use the power of space to kill Lin Fan. The space around Lin Xian twisted strangely. The power of space made his body shake violently. The yin and yang qi became crazy and restless. How dare you come again? Lin Xian snorted. Suddenly, an extremely miserable shriek came from the space. The space demonic beast's body fell down, and it was trembling nonstop. His originally transparent body appeared before everyone's eyes at this moment. Not good. 9-headed Kylan's face changed, and he rushed over. The 2 great void beasts also looked terrible. What a terrifying black aura. It was the power of death. Lin Fan should have the laws of death. What? When the 9-headed Qilin heard this, its face turned extremely ugly. He couldn't care less. He had to save the great void beast. It was the law of space. It was rare. He couldn't let it die. Let's go. They took the great void beast and left quickly. Lin Xian used the yin-yang sword and chased after them. In the end, they were all injured. Even 9-headed Kylan had a terrifying sword wound on his back. He was almost cut in half. However, he didn't dare to fight back. He could only run for his life. Outside the yin-yang hall, everyone was waiting patiently. They were waiting for Lin Xian to come out so that they could stop him. Over the past day, they felt energy fluctuations in front of the yin-yang hall. Someone was coming. These people all stood up. their eyes shining with a shocking light. Some used secret techniques. Some took out sage weapons. They were ready to attack with all their might. They wouldn't give the other party a chance to react. Moreover, they didn't doubt that the person who came out was Lin Xian. After all, Lin Xian was the only one who was still in the Yinyang Hall. When Lin Fan came out, they roared and attacked. The sages attacked crazily. Lei Zhen and the other chief disciples were among them. When they attacked together, they were extremely powerful. The people who came out immediately screamed in pain. Not good. The two great void beasts turned green. They couldn't defend against so many sages. Damn it. I'm not Lin Wuti. Nine-headed Kailin understood what was going on. These people probably thought that they were Lin Wuti. As soon as he shouted, his voice was drowned out by the energy in the sky. Those who attacked sneered. He wasn't Lin Wuti. Who was he trying to fool? Who else could it be other than Lin Wuti in the Yinyang Hall? Everyone ignored him and attacked crazily. The other party was trying to bluff his way out. These people attacked even more violently. The area in front of them was completely drowned out. After a series of attacks, everyone stopped. The other party should be dead. That was for sure. Lei Zhen stood out. His eyes were filled with radiance. If he's not dead, I'll kick his head like a ball. The elites of the Demon City also stood up and sneered. They had so many elites attacking, but the other party was still alive. What a joke! Chapter 3949. At this moment, more than 10 figures appeared in the distance. Each of them was a sword sage. Their auras were powerful. The people of 10,000 Swords Pavilion were terrified. When the people of 10,000 Swords Pavilion saw this, they naturally understood that the kid had appeared. Kill! Without saying a word, countless sword chi slashed down. The scene in front of them was shattered again. After a long time, it slowly disappeared. Let's see how you die. They sneered. At this moment, everyone was paying attention. In front of them, the sword chi disappeared. The laws slowly dissipated. Fresh blood stained the ground. The pungent smell of blood made people frown. However, when they saw the situation, clearly they were all dumbfounded. Why was there so much sage blood? The residue didn't seem right. They frowned. Lin Xian didn't have any scales on him. And why did they feel that the demon aura was monstrous? Could it be that it wasn't Lin Wuti? Thinking of this possibility, they quickly widened their eyes and looked forward. In the next moment, they screamed. How could this be? The experts of Demon City fainted. They realized that there were a few powerful demons in front of them, and one of them seemed to be their young master. 9 Qilins. It couldn't be. The people they had just attacked were actually their own people. These people fainted. One had to know that they didn't hold back when they attacked. They wanted to kill Lin Wuti. Who would have thought that they would kill their own people? The others were also stunned. What was going on? Didn't they say that only Lin Wuti was left in Yinyang Hall? How did 9 Qilins and the other demons enter? Everyone was shocked. They couldn't understand at all. Lei Zhen's face darkened. He was a little disappointed. After all, it wasn't Lin Wuti. However, it was a good thing that 9 Qilins were killed. After all, both sides were competitors. The sword sages in the sky were cold. That kid was still inside. At this moment, the crowd erupted into an unparalleled scream. The 9-headed Qilin was killed by them, as well as the other great demons. This was a shocking matter. Could the 1,000 Demon City let this matter rest? So what? Who asked him not to reveal his identity? That's right. Demon City also took action. What right did they have to blame us? Some people were discussing. Some people sneered. The great demons of the myriad Demon City also woke up, and they rushed forward as if they had gone mad. Young master, please don't die. Up ahead, the 2 greater demons who had come out with the 9-headed Qilin were already smashed into smithereens. Their Qilin souls had been destroyed, and they were deader than dead. There was no way they could be revived. Hence, they didn't even look at the 9-headed Qilin. The nine-headed Qilin's body was shattered, and blood flowed out of it. There was no sign of life. The nine-headed Qilin was strong, and he had made a breakthrough recently. He was strong enough to defeat everyone, but there were too many experts in the Yinyang Hall. Moreover, there were more than 10 powerful sword saints among them, including Lei Zhen. There were other chief disciples as well. These people originally wanted to make a move and kill Lin Xian. Therefore, no matter how strong the 9 Qilins were, they couldn't stop him. He was directly killed. Young master. The experts of the Demon City went crazy. Their young master had really been killed. Although the 9-headed Qilin had 9 lives and wouldn't really die, it was still a huge price to pay for one of his lives. Why didn't their young master dodge? They couldn't understand. With their young master's strength, even if he couldn't win, it wouldn't be a problem for him to escape. Soon, they saw the 9-headed Qilin carrying a beast in his arms. When they saw the beast covered in black runes, they understood. It was the Void Beast. The 9-headed Qilin was protecting the Void Beast, and that was why he was killed. At the same time, they understood why the 9-headed Qilin would appear in the Yinyang Hall. He must have cooperated with the Void Beast to assassinate Lin Xian. However, it seemed like he had failed. The Void Beast was in a bad situation. His life force was weak, and he could die at any time. They quickly treated him. The experts of the Demon City quickly treated him. At the same time they waited. Not long after, an immemorial phantom appeared on the 9-headed Qilin's body. He originally had 9 heads, but Lin Xian had killed one of them. He already had 8 heads. Now he died again, and the 8th head was smashed. Now only 7 heads were left. The aura of the 9-headed Qilin recovered, and he came back to life. However, the moment he came back to life, he roared at the sky. Damn it! He was mad with anger. He actually died again. He could not accept this. He had 9 lives, but the fight for the Great Tao was extremely dangerous. Even if he had 9 lives, he might not be able to reach the end. Not to mention that he had lost another life for no reason. He had died for no reason. He glanced at the Void Beast, who was being treated by their experts. He turned around and stared at the front. How dare you attack me? You even dared to cause me to lose my life. Just you wait. I will definitely not forgive you for this matter. The Demon City will not let you off. The 9-headed Qilin roared. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. The assassination had failed, and the Void Beast had been severely injured. Now he had lost another life. He was furious. The people around him felt their scalps go numb. It was over. The 9-headed Qilin would definitely go on a killing spree. Would they be able to withstand the revenge of the Demon City? These people all wanted to escape. However, at this moment, Lei Zhen stepped forward and sneered. Who allowed you to come out? We killed Lin Wudi. Who knew it was you? That's right. Someone sneered. How would we know if you didn't tell us? Moreover, it wasn't just us. The people from the Demon City also attacked, and they were even more ruthless than us. Perhaps they were the ones who killed you. What right do you have to take revenge on us? The 9-headed Qilin's face darkened when he heard this. He turned around and stared at the experts from the Demon City. The great demons looked pale and broke out in cold sweat. They said awkwardly, "We really didn't know it was you." "Yes, young master. We didn't know you went in to assassinate Lin Wudi." The 9-headed Qilin spat out a mouthful of blood. He wanted to die. In order to be quick and keep it a secret, he did not call many people. He only called a few great demons from the Earth Hall. He also called the Void Beast over. He could not wait to assassinate it. He was afraid that a long delay would cause trouble. Who would have thought that his original plan would end up burying him? Let's go. The 9-headed Qilin roared and flew into the sky. He could only suffer in silence. Let's go. The great demons from the Demon City brought the Void Beast and left quickly. Everyone was discussing why the 9-headed Qilin would appear here. Some were also worried that the Demon City would take revenge. In the Yinyang Hall, Lin Xian crossed his arms. He was laughing so hard that he could not breathe. He had never seen such a ridiculous thing. The nine-headed Qilin had lost a life. Chapter 3950. Serves them right. Lin Xian sneered. Then he turned around and went back in. He could tell that it was a dangerous place outside. The 9 Qilins were so terrifying, but they were all killed instantly. If he went out, the situation wouldn't be any better. Even though he had the great sage, he was still being chased by countless people. It wouldn't feel good. I have to think of a way to leave quietly. Lin Xian looked at the tail in his hand and sneered. He heard from Heishan that the void beast was a spatial divine beast. Its fur had the power of space. If he could refine it, he could use the power of space to leave quietly. What happened outside the Yinyang Hall spread quickly. As for the Golden Palace, everyone in the 5 halls knew about it. They were in an uproar. The North Demon and the Crimson Dragon heard it too. They sneered. They were courting death. They deserved it. Who told them to sneak attack? Soon they frowned again. These people had gathered outside the Yinyang Hall to capture Lin Xian. The 9 Qilins were tricked this time. But what about the next time? Would Lin Xian be able to withstand so many terrifying attacks if he came out? Especially the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. Another 10 Sword Sages came. The 20 Sword Saints together were incomparably powerful. Everyone was terrified. No, we have to find that kid quickly. Let's go to the Yinyang Hall too. The Crimson Dragon, the North Demon, Murong Qingqing, and Li Hongxiu all moved. Wang Xiaofeng, Guili, and the others who were still outside the Yinyang Hall also came. They gathered and rushed towards the Yinyang Hall. Of course, they didn't go there directly. Otherwise, they would be in trouble if they were captured and used to threaten them. They hid in the dark and were extremely anxious. They didn't know how Senior Brother Lin was doing. They were worried about Water Sky City. It wasn't easy for these people to gather the heavenly Tao Golden Lotus and enter as well. However, their strength had increased by leaps and bounds. After all, they were all top geniuses. Although they had entered the Saint City late, they were still able to obtain the treasures inside. Therefore, they chased after Lin Xian. Stay in the dark and wait for us to go take a look. Li Hongxiu suggested. Indeed, it wasn't appropriate for Peerless City's people to show their faces. However, they weren't Peerless City's people, and each of them had a special status. Those people wouldn't dare to act recklessly. The toad also cried out, "Damn, this group of people is too despicable. I will drown them with ointment." They rushed out. The eyes of the people from the Yinyang Hall lit up when they saw them. They knew that these people were their friends from Lin County. Should they make a move? Upon closer inspection, they realized that although these people were Lin Xian's friends, they all had their own identities. Furthermore, they weren't from Peerless City. For example, Li Hongxiu, the daughter of the Saint King, would you dare to attack her? These people hesitated. Lei Jin sneered. It didn't matter. Since they were here, it meant that that guy was really inside. As long as he came out, he would definitely die. These people waited even more patiently, following which, the toad began to provoke them. Its mouth was truly too smelly, causing the faces of some experts to darken. Later, he began to hunt down the toad. However, the toad was very powerful and was very familiar with this place. Even though it was being chased by dozens of people, it was still able to leave calmly. After a few days, the toad came back energetically. The saints were so angry that they gritted their teeth. The Crimson Dragon began to set up many arrays. After all, arrays were more useful in a real battle. He decided to set up some teleportation arrays to teleport the kid away. Murong Qingqing, Li Hongxiu, the North Demon, and the others were also worried. They were all waiting. However, at this moment, Lin Xian seemed to be very relaxed in the Yinyang Hall. He had an almost transparent beast skin in his hand. It kept rolling as he refined it with his godly fire. It was the beast skin of the void beast. Lin Xian chopped off a section of the beast's tail and peeled off the beast skin. He also didn't waste any of the beast's flesh. He preserved it perfectly. These were all good things for him to study the spatial laws. He didn't have time to study them now, but when he had the chance, he would definitely take them out to study. Lin Xian refined the demonic qi on the beast's skin. Then he kept polishing it and imprinting his soul mark on it. Before this, he had used the great dragon's sword soul to clean it a few hundred times. He had already removed all the remaining souls on it. Now that the beast's skin was no longer connected to the void beast, he could use it without worry. Once he was done, Lin Xian draped the beast's skin over his body and disappeared in an instant. How magical! Lin Xian took out the great destruction spear and put it on. Then he sensed it carefully, but he couldn't sense it. The demonic qi on it had completely disappeared. It was indeed a good thing. The void beast was too amazing. It was really a divine beast. Indeed, it was really too good. It was like the darling of the heavens. For example, the 9 Qilins and the void beast's bloodline were all extraordinary. Not to mention the dragons, phoenixes, and Qilins. He should be able to leave now. Lin Xian put on the beast skin and walked out of the Yinyang Hall. When he reached the door, he hesitated for a moment. Then he walked out. He lingered outside. Seeing that something was wrong, he hurried back. However, he realized that after he came out, the people in front of him didn't react at all. They didn't notice him at all. That's great. Lin Xian was delighted. It seemed that the power of space had completely hidden him. Lin Xian deliberately took a few steps forward and wandered in front of these people. In the end, no one reacted. Only Lei Zhen revealed a look of doubt. Endless lightning flashed in his eyes as he tried to search. However, he didn't find anything and retracted his gaze. Lin Xian secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Even Lei Zhen couldn't find him, let alone the others. He had to take a good look at who was targeting her. What he saw gave him a fright. Almost all the big families in the holy city except Wushuang City had people here. Damn it, it was really something. However, it made sense. The yin-yang origin was not weaker than the spatial laws. If he could get it, how terrifying would it be? He remembered all of them. If he had the chance, he would kill them one by one. Not only did he see these people, but he also saw his friends. The Crimson Dragon, Murong Qingqing, Li Hongxiu, Toad, and the others were also here. This made Lin Xian's heart feel warm. He walked over and sent a voice transmission to Murong Qingqing and Li Hongxiu. Murong Qingqing was stunned. However, after hearing Lin Xian's voice transmission, he quickly calmed down. "Brother Xian, is that you?" Lin Xian said secretly, "It's me. Previously, the 9 Qilins brought the void beast and crossed space to kill me. I killed them instead. I obtained a piece of void beast skin and refined it. Now, I'm using the power of space to sneak out. They can't see me." Chapter 3951. Murong Qingqing heaved a sigh of relief. Space mystique? That would be much safer. Li Hongxiu was also surprised. She transmitted her voice to Lin Fan. "You're really surprising. Every time you did, you would cause a huge commotion." Lin Xian chuckled and transmitted his voice to the North Demons. He told them to bring the Toad and the Crimson Dragon away. The Crimson Dragon and the Toad were very unhappy when they were taken away. "Damn, what's going on? Are we retreating?" "No, I haven't scolded enough." The Toad clamored, but in the end, a slap landed on its head and it was dragged away. Then they met up with Shui Tiancheng and the others and left quietly. They went to a place far away where there was no one. The Toad was unhappy. "Damn, who hit me? Say, what's going on? Why are you retreating?" Shui Tiancheng and the others surrounded them. Before the North Demons could say anything, a figure appeared in front of them. "Of course, it's because I came out. It's you." The Crimson Dragon was shocked. The Toad jumped high. "Damn, what the hell?" Shui Tiancheng, Shi Bufan, and the others screamed. They couldn't imagine that Lin Xian would suddenly appear. "What's going on? How did you come out?" Why didn't I notice you at all?" The dark divine dragon was shocked. The others were even more shocked. As Lin Xian spoke, he naturally swaggered out. He waved the transparent beast skin in his hand and covered it up again. Everyone realized that the candidate had disappeared. "Space mystique," Toad shrieked. "You actually mastered such a mystique. Didn't you say that you mastered the yin yang laws?" The Crimson Dragon was also excited. "Yeah, kid, what's going on?" Lin Xian recounted the events that had transpired. After they heard it, they were shocked. So many things had happened in the yin yang hall. It was really dangerous. Only Lin Xian could come back alive. If it were Lei Zhan and the others, they might not be able to come out alive. Especially when they heard that Lin Xian was being chased by the Void Beast Space. They were all infuriated. Fortunately, the Heavenly Void Beast had been wounded, and one of the 9 scales had died. Meanwhile, Lin Xian had obtained a piece of Heavenly Void Beast skin. With this thing, it was equivalent to having spatial laws. Many people were envious. Lin Xian said that it wasn't that exaggerated. He could only hide his tracks and couldn't use spatial abilities. Indeed, spatial abilities were extremely terrifying. Apart from being able to hide one's tracks and teleport through space, there were also various other uses. Lin Xian had seen these when he was in the Gu family. That was the King realm. If it was the law of space, it would be even more terrifying. Everyone nodded. At this moment, Li Hongxiu also spoke up. Indeed, if it was a Void Palace beast, it was still possible. A piece of beast skin could only save one's life. Let me tell you, there is a person who knows how to use the law of space, and he is extremely terrifying. Everyone was stunned, apart from the Heavenly Void Beast. There was actually someone who knew how to use the law of space. Wasn't this too unbelievable? Once this was said, everyone was stunned. Even Lin Xian was shocked. There was actually someone who knew how to use the law of space. Then how terrifying was this person? These people were all very interested to hear the details. Li Hongxiu shrugged. "I don't know either. I only know that there is an expert on the pilgrim list, whose surname is Gu. His name is Gu Feng." Gu Feng. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. Could it be someone from the Gu family? Spatial abilities were extremely rare, and only a few people could master them, apart from the Heavenly Void Beast's bloodline ability. The only other great emperor family who could do it was the Gu family. Moreover, this person was also surnamed Gu. Gu Feng. His eyes flickered. He had never heard of this person in the quintessential world. However, great emperor families were extremely mysterious. They might not only exist in the quintessential world. There might be some in other places as well. In short, he guessed that it was very likely that Gu Feng was from the Gu family. If that was the case, then he would be a difficult opponent. The North Demon also said, "I wonder how Gu Santong is doing." Yes, they also thought of Gu Santong. He was also a genius of the Gu family. Lin Xian thought of many things in an instant. Li Hongxiu said, "Forget it. You don't have to think about these things now. If you want to deal with those people, break through to the small saint realm first." "Brother Xian, what do you plan to do next?" Morong Qingqing asked. "I'm going to the Palace of All Life. I think it's time to condense the Law of Sword. Then I'll go with you," Morong Qingqing said. She had already strengthened her bloodline in the Palace of All Life. She wanted to go to the other palaces to take a look. Lin Xian nodded. The toad said, "I'll go too." Li Hongxiu slapped it. "Go your sister, don't be a third wheel." "Damn it, it hurts." The toad's tears flowed out. Then it said, "Who said I'm going with this kid? The Palace of All Life is a good place. Can I go alone?" The North Demon also said, "We can all go to the Palace of All Life. However, we can't go together. This way, even if there's danger, we can help as soon as possible." All right, everyone nodded. Let's do it this way. As for Zishui Tiancheng and the others, Lin Xian told them to be careful. Then he and Morong Qingqing snuggled up to each other, put on the void beast skin, and disappeared. over at the Inyan Palace. Everyone was waiting with gritted teeth. However, they didn't know that Lin Xian had already left the Inyan Palace. Now he was already in the Palace of All Saints. If these people knew, they would probably vomit blood. There were even more laws in the Palace of All Saints. Lin Xian sensed carefully and flew in the direction of the Law of Sword. During this time he met some people. They were all powerful swordsmen, and some were even sword saints. The Law of Sword was very terrifying. However, everyone's Law of Sword was different. Some were fast and violent, while others had a destructive aura. However, without exception, they were all very powerful. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing shuttled through the void quickly. The people around them didn't know that the two of them had arrived. They didn't know who left behind the 5 halls of the Golden Palace. Wasn't it too magical? Lin Xian was also amazed. He wasn't sure, but he thought that it must be someone incredible. Perhaps it was a supreme saint, or someone above a supreme saint. As for this secret, they probably wouldn't be able to figure it out. The two of them didn't argue. Along the way, they snuggled up to each other and whispered sweet nothings. On this day, there was a sudden roar in front of them. Heaven and earth trembled, and a terrifying aura spread from afar. What happened? Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing stopped. They looked into the distance. Murong Qingqing's eyes were shining with rainbow light, while Lin Xian's eyes were shining with golden light. Both of them were surprised. Chapter 3952. In front of them, the light was monstrous, and a terrifying aura was vast and mighty. It was sword chi, and it was incomparable. It soared into the sky as if it was going to pierce through heaven and earth. Retreat quickly. Lin Xian sensed the terrifying sword chi and immediately retreated. He didn't know what it was, but it shouldn't be a human, because it was too terrifying. The two of them moved very quickly in the void and left in an instant. As soon as they left, the place where they were originally standing was shattered by countless sword waves, turning into a black hole of nothingness. After retreating a long distance, the two of them heaved a sigh of relief. Murong Qingqing's jade-like face was also cold. The Law of the Sword was really terrifying. That's right. Lin Xian's eyes flickered as he looked around. In addition to the Law of the Sword, there were probably also the Law of the Saber and some very rare law types in this place. They could all be found here. He didn't know if he could find the Law of Space. Lin Xian was also looking forward to it. If there was a place where he could temper and comprehend the Law of Space, it would be great. Thinking of this, he was right. There was something for you. He took out half of the blood essence of the Void Thin Man and gave it to Murong Qingqing. You should comprehend it well. You might fight with Gu Feng in the future. Even if you don't fight Gu Feng, you might encounter the Void Beast. After all, the Demon City would definitely not let this matter rest. In addition to these, Lin Xian also gave some of the things he had obtained to Murong Qingqing. After Murong Qingqing received them, she also gave the things she had obtained from the human hall to Lin Xian. Most of the things that Murong Qingqing had obtained were evolved bloodlines. Lin Xian didn't have any bloodlines, but he still accepted them. He felt that they might be of some help to his divine body. Oh, right, there was another good thing. Lin Xian slapped his head. He thought of something and took it out. What was this? After Murong Qingqing saw it, she was surprised. The aura of a phoenix. That's right, there was a fire phoenix in the 10,000 Swords Pavilion who went against me. When she was about to die, she directly turned into a phoenix stone. I think it should help you. Murong Qingqing was overjoyed. Perhaps I can find out some of the Emperor clan's secrets from her. Wait, someone is coming. The two of them stopped talking and stood in the 9 heavens. A few streams of light streaked over from afar. These people were all sword saints, and Lin Xian recognized a few of them. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain, but not all of them. They were the 3rd and 4th of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. The two of them were in an abnormally sorry state. Their bodies were covered with terrifying sword wounds. It was the same for the other sword saints. They were all injured. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. It seemed that the terrifying sword qi was caused by these people. There should be something incredible up ahead. These sword saints made a move. He must have activated the mechanism. He didn't know what it was, but if it could move these sword saints, it should be a good treasure. However, Lin Xian did not make a move because the sword qi in front of him was too terrifying. Even he could not withstand it. Moreover, he didn't want to reveal his identity too early. Otherwise, those people from the Yinyang Hall would kill him again. Hiding in the void, Lin Xian turned and left. Now, the most important thing was to condense the precept of sword. After flying for a few more days, Lin Xian came to a stop. He realized that there was an extremely strong sword will in front of him. It was the precept condensing. He descended to comprehend it. He realized that it was some plants and vines. They had an unusually cold aura. He took a closer look and realized that these plants were growing on the broken sword. The aura on the broken sword was too terrifying. Therefore, these plants also had a terrifying sword qi. Some of them even bore fruit. This should be the sword fruit. Lin Xian did not make a move rashly because this place was not too far away from the place where the sword qi had exploded. Moreover, the remnant sword will here was also very terrifying. If he activated some mechanism and attracted other unnecessary trouble, it would be terrible. He was waiting. When the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain made a move, he could make a move. At that time, everyone would pay attention to the even more terrifying sword qi and would not pay attention to him. After waiting for 2 days, the sword qi in front of him soared into the sky again. The terrifying scene attracted the attention of countless people. It was a good opportunity. At this moment, Lin Xian also made a move, because there was also a sword wave on his side. However, compared to the terrifying scene in the distance, he did not attract too much attention here. After half a day, Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing left. They had obtained 100 fruits. Lin Xian was very satisfied with this. He ate 5 fruits directly and felt a piercingly cold sword qi circulating in his body. As expected, the sword will contained in these fruits was very terrifying. It was far more powerful than what he had seen in the outside world. He ate more than 20 fruits in one go. Then, the sword essence in his body kept rushing out. Lin Xian began to comprehend here. Soon, he finished the 100 sword fruit. He opened his eyes and sighed. It was a pity that he did not condense the sword rule. From this, it could be seen that the sword rule was very difficult to comprehend. However, the effect of these 100 fruits was also very good. At least, Lin Xian's sword qi had become more terrifying than before. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing returned. When the sword qi in front of them filled the sky, they picked nearly 100 more fruits. After a few attacks, Lin Xian's sword qi improved rapidly. However, Lin Xian knew that these could only improve his sword qi. If he wanted to comprehend the real sword rule, he would need other things. Over the next day, Lin Xian ate another 30 invisible fruits and prepared to comprehend. Not long after, there was a sudden roar in the distance. Endless sword qi rolled between heaven and earth. There was a strange phenomenon in the sky, and a red light was emitted. Is there a change? Murong Qingqing's eyes flickered and revealed a look of surprise. She looked at Lin Xian and did not say anything. Instead, she waited patiently. After half a day, Lin Xian opened his eyes. Murong Qingqing told him what had happened. Lin Xian also stood up and looked into the distance. He also felt that there was a terrifying sword rule in front of him. Obviously, there was a change in front of him. Let's go and take a look. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing flew forward. This time, they were not the only ones. There were many powerful saints flying quickly around them. It seemed that the strange phenomenon in front of them had attracted the attention of many people. Even before it arrived, Lin Xian and the others could already sense a fearsome surge of sword qi sweeping in their direction. The void beast skin on their bodies fluctuated with the power of space, causing them to hide their bodies. Some of the saints around them also stopped in their tracks and shouted coldly as they began to block the sword qi. There were sword saints and other saints among them. Obviously, these people all wanted to obtain the sword principal world in front of them. If they could condense the sword rule, then their attack power would be greatly increased. Lin Xian activated the heavenly secret prodigy and looked ahead carefully. Chapter 3953. In front of them, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The void shattered. A huge stone tablet was faintly discernible, and it looked like a huge sword that reached the sky. The sword qi emitted from it was really terrifying. This should be the legendary place of the hidden sword. A sword saint looked up to the sky and laughed. He was really lucky. He actually saw the place of the hidden sword reappear in the world. The surrounding experts' eyes were also burning with passion as they stared at the scene before them. There was an extremely shocking law in front of them, as if it could easily split a person in half. Finally, someone couldn't hold it in anymore. A sword saint turned into a stream of light and rushed forward. However, when he got close, he screamed and retreated in horror. Many wounds appeared on his body, and blood dyed his body red. He screamed in horror and ran back. The surrounding experts were also shocked. This was a sword saint in the fifth heaven, and he was very strong. Just because he rushed over, such a scene happened. It was really unbelievable. Buzz, buzz, buzz. More people came from afar. They came close, and their eyes emitted a piercing light, which shocked the surrounding experts. They were young geniuses. They felt that the sword qi on these young people was even more terrifying than theirs. They should be the 7 swords of Tian Shan from the 10,000 swords pavilion. Many people's eyelids twitched. Indeed, Lin Xian also saw them. They were also a few familiar faces. After the 7 swords of Tian Shan arrived, they also frowned when they sensed the aura in front of them. The eldest of the Tian Shan sect's sacred weapon was extremely solemn. The second of the Tian Shan sect looked around and asked, "Big brother, should we join forces with these people?" There was no need. The eldest of the Tian Shan sect snorted coldly. They didn't take these people's strength seriously. The 7 swords of Tian Shan were so powerful that they didn't even care about the older generation. More experts appeared around them, but they were a little far away. They formed an arc and appeared in the nearby void. Gradually, the scene in front of them became more and more terrifying. The sword qi was like a sea, and the sea was so terrifying that everyone was shocked. In the endless sword qi, the faintly discernible sword shadow was really shocking. It had an endless mysterious aura. They had to go over. These people's eyes emitted piercing light. Only by getting close could they obtain the sword Dao treasure. After waiting for another 2 days, the surrounding experts couldn't hold it in any longer and were ready to make a move. 3 long swords appeared behind a sword saint and enveloped him. They formed a triangle and cut through the void. The sword light that blossomed at this moment was incomparable. However, it didn't take long for cracks to appear on the 3 saint artifacts. It was as if they were unable to withstand the boundless sea of swords before them. Damn it, the sword saint was instantly terrified. The surrounding people were shocked. However, these people who dared to come here were all experts. "Let's go." A tall man with fiery red wings on his back opened his mouth and spat out a war chariot. This was a flaming war chariot that was burning fiercely. After he got on, the 2 people beside him also got on. The 3 of them tore through the void and rushed forward. The flames that filled the sky were attacked by the endless swords, but they were not damaged. The people in the distance shrieked. Their eyes were filled with envy. "Let's go." On the other side, someone took out a golden cauldron. It kept getting bigger. Several figures stood up, tearing apart the void. rushing forward noisily. Everyone displayed their techniques, one after another. Of course, some people's defenses were directly torn apart by the sea of swords midway and chopped into pieces. Their blood was dyed red and swallowed by the sword chi. It was extremely dangerous to pass through. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain also had flickering eyes. Let's go. The eldest, second, and third brothers of Heavenly Mountain formed a sword formation and rushed forward. Endless snowflakes floated out of their bodies, forming a terrifying world of ice. Lin Xian didn't see the others. They must be moving separately. Seeing these people display their techniques, Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing also prepared to move out. Lin Xian didn't dare to use the void beast hide again. He was afraid that this spatial treasure would be damaged. After all, the sea of swords ahead was too terrifying. He and Murong Qingqing rode on the black earth. They flew forward. Although the black earth wasn't as good as the Great Sage Tower, it wasn't an ordinary saint artifact. Its defense was extremely terrifying. After entering the Sea of Swords, they felt the terrifying aura around them. In the black earth, Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing also had solemn expressions. They formed a formation and constantly paid attention to the situation outside. Suddenly, they discovered that not far ahead, a monstrous sword wave suddenly surged out. It enveloped the 3 of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. What's going on? Is it an accident or did someone attack? Lin Xian was shocked. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain also roared crazily. The eldest of the Heavenly Mountain roared as the sword chi on his body split open the sky. A blue sword light swept across the 9 heavens. The 2nd and 3rd brothers of Heavenly Mountain did the same. They all practiced the Heavenly Mountain sword technique, which belonged to the same power. Therefore, at this moment, the 3 of them performed the Heavenly Mountain sword technique together, forming a terrifying ice sword chi. They resisted the surrounding sea of swords. Then they turned into a huge blue sword that enveloped the 3 of them and continued forward. Buzz! Just like that, everyone relied on their own strength. They charged towards the sword shadow in front of them. However, not long after, Lin Xian and the others felt a huge aura coming from behind. It was about to collide with the black earth. The black earth and the black earth were like agile snakes. They instantly drew an arc and dodged. A purple light flashed past them like a bolt of lightning. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He saw that it was a purple gourd with a few figures standing on it. At this moment, they turned around and snorted disdainfully. Are they provoking me? Lin Xian laughed. There are really people who don't know what's good for them. Beside him, Murong Qingqing also walked out. The gourd didn't look ordinary. It should be a high-grade saint artifact. I didn't expect these people to be so bold. Do they want to cause a conflict in this Sea of Swords? Brother Xian, this place is too dangerous. Why don't we wait until we reach our destination and teach them a lesson? Lin Xian nodded. He remembered the purple gourd and the figures on it. Buzz, buzz, buzz! In this Sea of Swords, their speed couldn't be too fast. At least, it was much slower than usual. Sometimes, not only could they not advance, they had to retreat. Therefore, it wasn't very easy to reach their destination. The sky gradually darkened. However, these saint artifacts shone brightly like suns, illuminating the surroundings. Of course, as long as the places that couldn't be illuminated were dark, their line of sight would be blocked. At this moment, a few black figures rushed out from the darkness. A few ships rushed towards the black earth. Lin Xian frowned. Are there people who don't know what's good for them? Is it that purple gourd? Murong Qingqing was also angry. The other party provoked them again and again. Did they really think they were clay figurines? Chapter 3954. They wanted to make a move, but they soon realized that it wasn't a purple gourd. Instead, it was a white shadow that looked like a white spirit boat. Those were bones. Lin Xian's eyes lit up. He could see that those were white-boned spirit boats, made of white bones. Not only that, they could also feel the cold, murderous aura coming from the white-boned spirit boats. Brother Xian, there didn't seem to be any living people on it. Murong Qingqing was also beautiful and compact. Lin Xian also felt that such a cold aura wasn't suitable for people to go up. Could it be the guardian of this place? Lin Xian guessed. Murong Qingqing's body flickered with 7-colored light. She said that it might not be. Perhaps someone else had secretly made a move. Brother Xian, have you heard of the Netherworld Hall? The Netherworld Hall? Never heard of it. Lin Xian shook his head. Murong Qingqing said, the Netherworld Hall was also one of the holy cities, and they were very strong. They cultivated a cold aura, and it was even rumored that they could control ghosts. This wasn't the first time this sea of swords had been opened, right? In the past, there would have been countless experts who would have come here. After some experts died, their corpses were swallowed by the sea of swords. Over the past 10,000 years, who knew how many corpses of experts had been hidden? Perhaps the people of the Netherworld Hall had come and secretly controlled these corpses. They were attacking us. After hearing Murong Qingqing's analysis, Lin Xian's eyes lit up. If it was really the Netherworld Hall, it might really be possible. Other than them, the others were also attacked. Some people screamed, "Get out of the way. Don't be disturbed by those bone overlords." Some people roared, "Damn Netherworld Hall, come out and fight us head on." It was useless. Those bone spirit boats were made of countless bones. There were also bone palaces on them, and many bone creatures rushed out from them. They were also made of bones, but they were in strange shapes. After all, after so many years, it was impossible for the corpses to be completely preserved. In addition, someone was controlling them. Therefore, different bones combined together to form the white bone life spirits. Although they looked strange, their auras were incomparably terrifying. These were the corpses of saints, and some of them were even powerful sword saints. The forest of bones charged over, their yin qi overflowing. Terrifying energy and laws surged. The purple gourd in front snorted coldly. The person on top of it cast a spell. The purple gourd spewed out purple flames that engulfed the entire sky. The 2 ancient white boats were instantly engulfed by the purple flames. On the other side, the golden cauldron was just as aggressive as it charged forward. The white-boned spiritual boat was smashed into pieces. The others also attacked one after another. Lin Xian also unleashed a law attack. The danger had been resolved. Do you think you can trap us with mere bones? Those people sneered as they didn't know what was good for them. However, very soon he could no longer smile. After the white-boned forest states disappeared, countless black shadows appeared in the surroundings. They rushed over. The white-boned spirit boats were densely packed. There were at least 1,000 of them. Above them, there was an endless army of skeletons. Damn it, why are there so many of them? This time, the sages felt their scalps go numb. They didn't care about the previous dozen or so sages. But now there were more than 1,000, and even more. They couldn't help but be shocked. The number of skeletons was hundreds of times greater than theirs. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing's expressions also became extremely ugly. They didn't know how many powerhouses had come to the Netherworld Hall to be able to control so many skeletons. It seems that we have no choice but to make a move. Lin Xian looked at Murong Qingqing. Then, the two of them took a deep breath and began to attack. A great battle broke out. Thousands of white-boned spirit boats rushed over and engulfed everything. These people fought back frantically. The battle lasted for 5 days and 5 nights. Some people tore through countless skeletons and fought their way out. Some people were swallowed up by the army of skeletons and completely lost their lives. On the 6th day, when the sun rose, the skeletons sank into the sword qi and disappeared. Those who were still alive heaved a sigh of relief. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing retreated. Their faces were a little pale, but they were not injured. Both of them were very powerful. It was just that the 5 days of fighting had exhausted them a little, that was all. Murong Qingqing took a pill, and Lin Xian took out a few roasted beasts. Eat that to recover quickly. In the following period of time, everything was calm and peaceful. Finally, on this day they arrived. At this moment, the sages were all recovering. However, when they arrived, they opened their eyes one after another. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing also stood up and looked ahead. In the next moment, they were stunned. What was going on? Lin Xian was stunned. Murong Qingqing was also shocked. Am I seeing things? The other powerhouses were also stunned. Even the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain were extremely shocked. How was that possible? Wasn't that a gigantic sword? Why was it only a broken sword? Previously, when they were watching from afar, it was a stone tablet in the shape of a gigantic sword. However, when they came closer, they saw a stone sword in front of them. It was only 3 feet long, and half of it was broken. It was floating there, emitting a mysterious aura. The scene was really too strange. Was it a hallucination? One of the sages decided to try. With the pagoda above his head, he carefully walked forward. As soon as he got close to the pagoda, his body instantly shrank. In the end, he shrank like an ant. What was going on? The others were also terrified. The shrunken sage was sucked into the broken sword and disappeared. Would it be dangerous? After waiting for a long time, they did not see the other party come out. They were very puzzled. The powerhouses began to analyze. Perhaps the laws inside were too powerful and affected the laws of heaven and earth. That's why we got closer and shrank our bodies according to its laws. There should be a world inside the broken sword. Perhaps the fortune was inside. Those people were all excited. Let's go. Some of them could not wait any longer. The others also had burning gazes. It was worth the risk for the fortune inside. Charge! Many people swayed. However, at that moment, a blue sword light descended from the sky. One of the people's body was frozen and then broken. Damn it, who attacked? Their companions screamed crazily. Then, they saw 3 people surrounded by icy sword chi. The voice was cold. Get lost if you don't want to die. Damn it! The companions who were killed roared crazily. How dare you attack us? They were really angry. However, what welcomed them was sword chi that filled the sky. The entire world turned into ice. Their movements became very slow. Even the speed of the circulation of their power slowed down. Oh no, it's only the Sky Mountain sword technique. Are they the 7 swords of Sky Mountain? Many people felt their scalps go numb and they frantically retreated. The 7 swords of Sky Mountain were so terrifying that they did not dare to fight back. The leader of the Sky Mountain sword technique snorted coldly. Since you know who I am, get lost. Chapter 3955. I also think it's time to clear out a batch of trash. The figures sitting on the purple gourd sneered. They suddenly activated the gourd and shot out purple flames. The battle broke out, just like that. With the treasure in front of them, they definitely wanted to get rid of the dissidents and monopolize the treasure. Therefore, after the purple gourd, the golden cauldron also began to go on a rampage. Those who were weaker were directly smashed into a bloody mist. In an instant, monstrous laws swept out in all directions. Terrifying sword chi, ice, and flames surged in the sky. You can't even withstand a single blow. There were 5 people standing on the purple gourd. Their eyes were filled with disdain. Suddenly, one of them turned his head and looked behind him. There were purple flames in his eyes. That person is still alive. Hearing his companion's words, the others turned their heads and saw a spirit ship bobbing up and down behind them. This spirit ship could dodge their attacks previously, but they didn't pay much attention to it. They just didn't expect that in such a chaotic battle, that person is still alive. I don't like him. Let's kill him, that person said. Then, a flame rose from the purple gourd and rushed to the back. The black earth was constantly flashing, sometimes attacking, sometimes defending. Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing weren't surprised by this sudden battle. They were all people who had experienced hundreds of battles and had long seen the biting cold methods of these experts. Therefore, they were also attacking aggressively. Suddenly, the temperature of the black earth suddenly rose, and white smoke even appeared in the internal space. What's going on? Someone is attacking them, and it's an extremely terrifying flame. Murong Qingqing snorted and shot out a 7-colored light. Immediately, the 7-colored light collided with the purple flames. It blocked the flames outside. Lin Xian frowned. Is it the purple gourd? Humph, these people are courting death. I'll fulfill their wishes. They're not dead. The person on the gourd was surprised. Interesting. The person inside actually has some means to block our purple, ethereal, heavenly fire. Come out if you have the guts and play with me. A man rushed out. He was wearing purple armor and holding a purple-red long sword in his hand. He rushed towards the black earth. Under the sword battle, the purple flames that filled the sky jumped and hacked at the black earth, producing a sonorous sound. And come out and accept your death. This purple-armored man was extremely arrogant. Wang. Inside the black earth, Lin Xian coldly snorted. He moved. In an instant he rushed out, turning into a peerless streak of sword light, tearing apart the 9 heavens. The armored man originally had a look of disdain on his face, but the aura coming from below caused his expression to change drastically. Damn it, I was too careless. This is an expert. In an instant he felt a powerful, nomological power rushing towards him. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. In a hurry, he could only attack to defend himself. The purple flames that filled the sky danced on his body, forming a purple shield. It was simple and unadorned. Boom! Ah! Clanging sounds could be heard, followed by miserable screams. The purple shield was instantly split into 2 halves. Not only that, but the man's purple armor was also shattering. His entire body was split apart by the sword. Blood dyed the void red. How was this possible? In the distance, those people on the gourd were stunned. The experts who were fighting in the surroundings also exclaimed. This sword made their hair stand on end. It seemed that there was another hidden expert. The purple gourd released a terrifying cloud of fire, enveloping the injured man and bringing him back. At the same time, the saints on the gourd roared. Who dares to hurt our purple void temple? Do you want to die? Their gazes were fixed on the black spirit ship. The others were also shocked. The purple void temple was also a terrifying sacred city. These were all top experts of the purple void temple, but they were easily injured at this moment. Who was inside the black spirit ship? Was the purple void temple very impressive? My Wushuang city has never been afraid of a fight. A cold voice came from the black spirit ship. After the surrounding people heard it, they were also shocked. Wushuang city. This was actually someone from Wushuang city. They were too surprised. The people of the purple void temple were also stunned. It seemed that the other party was also from the sacred city. What surprised them was that there were any powerful people in Wushuang city recently. If it was the 2nd-generation disciples, then there was indeed a group of powerful experts that terrified them. But the 3rd-generation disciples had only been there for a few years. They might not even have mastered the secret technique, but they dared to show off in front of them. However, some people were also shocked. Could the genius of Wushuang city be Lin Wudi? At the mention of this name, their bodies began to tremble. If it was really him, then they would be in danger. It was impossible. Some people shook their heads. How could that kid be here? That kid was blocked in the Inyan Hall and couldn't come out. If he came out, he would die. Indeed, The others knew about what happened in the Inyang Hall. If there was one person who was least likely to be here, it would be Lin Wudi. So they were all relieved. It was just Wushuang City. Other than Lin Wudi, they didn't care about anyone else. Since it wasn't Lin Wudi, then Dai. On the purple gourd, the saints of the purple void temple snorted. They spat out terrifying flames again. The raging flames swept toward the black earth. However, an extremely terrifying sword chi came out of the black earth. The sword broke the 9 heavens. The flames in the sky were torn apart. The purple gourd was sent flying. The people on the ground felt their blood boil. Some even vomited blood. Damn it! How could he be so strong? He was a top sword saint. Everyone screamed. The faces of the people from the Purple Void Temple were also gloomy. Damn it! Who was the opponent? Did Wushuang City already have such a terrifying existence? Boom! At this moment, the 7 swords of Tian Shan attacked. The terrifying Tian Shan sword technique descended from the sky. It carried an icy aura that froze everything. The space in front of them was instantly covered in a thick layer of ice that spread for thousands of miles. The black earth was sealed in ice. The 7-colored light rotated and the surrounding ice shattered instantly. Furthermore, it completely blocked the icy aura. It could even block the Tian Shan sword technique. The people around them were shocked. The 7 swords of Tian Shan were gloomy. At this moment, a golden light cut through the black earth. With a clang, the black earth was sent flying. It was a golden cauldron that shattered the sky. That terrifying power caused everyone to tremble. This time, the saint artifact should be shattered, right? Many people swallowed their saliva. They knew that there were a few in the golden cauldron. It was incredible. They weren't from the sacred city, but they were members of the 10,000 ancient races. Golden ants. This group of ants had immense strength. They were mutants. At this moment, their combined attack could probably shatter a saint artifact. Chapter 3956. Boom! Just as everyone was discussing, a black, spiritual ship charged over from afar. It contained an incomparable amount of power as it charged over. He didn't know what death was. The golden ant sneered and pushed the golden cauldron forward. If the other party didn't die, then let's attack again. We have to destroy the other party. At the moment of collision, a pair of fists came out from the black earth. They were like the sun as they punched forward. Clang! The surrounding sages shook and their faces turned pale. They almost fainted from the impact. The golden cauldron was sent flying in an instant. Inside the golden cauldron, several golden ants vomited blood from the impact. One of their arms was even shattered. How could it be? How could the other party be so powerful? The golden ants were stunned. The rest of the people were also stunned. This was too strange. How could the mysterious expert from Wushuang City be so powerful? If it wasn't for the Inyang Hall being surrounded by countless people, they would have suspected that the person inside was Lin Wudi. But other than Lin Wudi, was there anyone else in Wushuang City who was so terrifying? They couldn't think of anything. Could it be a second-generation disciple of Wushuang City who suppressed his cultivation and snuck in? That's possible. Everyone be careful. These people are extremely vigilant. Everyone, why don't we work together to kick him out? Yes, Wushuang City already had Lin Wudi who caused a ruckus. They definitely wouldn't allow a second person to appear. The golden ant walked forward. The people from the Purple Void Temple also took a step forward. In the sky, 3 sword sages from the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain also landed. The others saw the 3 forces taking the lead and nodded. Good. No matter who you are, you won't be able to take another step forward today. These people made their move. A terrifying power surged towards the black earth. Inside the black earth, Lin Xian snorted. They didn't know what was good for them. Don't hold back. The 2 of them didn't go out. Even though they were separated by the black earth, their attacks weren't weak at all. Lin Xian reached out his golden hand to fight against the golden ant. At the same time, he used his sword Qi to fight against the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. On the other side, Morong Qingqing did the same. The rainbow light blocked the purple flames. At the same time, he used his divine arts to block the surrounding attacks. The two of them worked together to fight against the 4 forces. Damn it, how is this possible? The people inside are actually so powerful. We can't even take each other's hands. These people were truly shocked. Not only that, they realized that not only were they unable to take down the other party, but the other party was also flying towards the broken sword. Stop it. Don't let it go in. These people roared crazily. Wow. Their attacks became even more terrifying. However, at this moment, a green wave of light rushed over and attacked their souls. These people were trembling, their souls wounded. Damn it, ocular technique. They were terrified. They didn't expect that the other party would have such a terrifying soul attack. For a moment, they all fell for the trap. A gap appeared in the sky, and the black earth rushed in. After entering, they discovered that there was indeed another space inside the broken sword. It was very spacious inside. The person who came in earlier was already dead. His body was cut in half at the waist and fell to the ground. His eyes were wide open, and it seemed like he had been dead for a long time. This caused Lin Xian to be shocked. It seems that this space was not safe. There should be some kind of terrifying trap or ray formation. The others also followed in. When they arrived and saw that the person who came in earlier had been killed, they all heaved a sigh of relief. This meant that the creation had not been taken away by others. They discovered that there was a pavilion in front of them that was completely formed by sword Qi. Sword Rain Pavilion. That pavilion was too majestic, and the aura on it was incomparable. The sun, moon, and stars revolved within the sword Qi. It was like a universe. There was indeed a creation inside. Hurry up and rush over. The black earth moved quickly. How dare you? The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain executed a terrifying ice sword technique, freezing everything and blocking it. The black earth's speed slowed down, but when the 7-colored radiance appeared and shattered the ice, its speed increased again. Other than the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain, the others also attacked crazily. It was impossible for them to let the other party succeed. The black earth was trembling from the attacks, especially when the other members of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain arrived. They attacked together, and the black earth was sealed in ice. Even Murong Qingqing could not melt the ice in a short time. Boom! Lin Xian snorted coldly and struck out with his palm. The solar law spread out and melted the ice. At the same time, the 9-yang divine fire and the purple void heavenly fire collided. Brother Xian, I'll help you block it. Hurry up and go to the sword rain pavilion in front, Morong Qingqing said. After Lin Xian heard this, he was a little worried. Can I? Brother Xian, trust me, it won't be a problem. All right, I'll leave this to you. Lin Xian left the great sage pagoda to Morong Qingqing. Then he turned into a stream of light and rushed forward. Damn it, he abandoned the spirit boat and wanted to rush forward alone. He would not let him succeed. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain, Golden Ant, and Purple, Void, Temple attacked crazily. However, at this moment, a 7-colored light appeared in the spirit boat, blocking all the attacks. What was going on? There was actually someone in the spirit boat. It was not a person. They were stunned. Your opponent is me. A cold voice came from the black earth. It was abnormally pleasant to the ears. The surrounding people were surprised. It was a woman. A woman wants to compete with us? The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain and the others sneered disdainfully. In the next moment, their pupils constricted. A phoenix. They saw a 7-colored phoenix covering the sky and the earth. It shrouded the front and cut off the sky. Damn it! Attack! They were really angry. With that person's speed, he would probably rush into the Sword Rain Pavilion soon. Kill! These powerhouses attacked together, and the 7-colored phoenix in the sky fought against them. The battle between the two sides was extremely intense. Murong Qingqing was indeed very strong. She was able to block so many powerhouses. However, the phoenix's silhouette gradually dimmed. There was no other way. The surrounding powerhouses were too strong, especially the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain. The 5 of them were terrifying when they joined forces. Not to mention the Golden Ant and the powerhouses of the Purple Void Temple. There were even other powerhouses besieging her. Murong Qingqing was already very heaven-defying to be able to hold on until now. However, at this moment, the 7-colored phoenix was destroyed by someone. Light scattered all over the sky. Great, I'll kill her. They rushed in. They did not care about a mere spirit boat. Boom! They were sent flying. A pagoda appeared and blocked all their attacks. Lin Xian was still a little worried at first. However, when he saw Murong Qingqing's strength, he heaved a sigh of relief. Even if this girl's strength was not as strong as his, it was probably not too far off. She should have no problem resisting these people. He should get the opportunity as soon as possible and then go to support her. He rushed towards the Sword Rain Pavilion. When he got close, his pupils constricted and he instantly used the Void Escape. Chapter 3957. The spatial divine ability had saved his life. A cold, murderous intent suddenly appeared and slashed at him. He was almost hit. It was too mysterious. Now that he did not have the Great Sage Tower, he dared to fight against countless saints with his defense. However, the sword just now was too cold. He did not doubt that even a minor saint would be killed instantly. Fortunately, he dodged it. The next moment, he entered the Sword Rain Tower. Damn it, he went in. When the people in the distance saw this scene, they screamed crazily. Finally, someone went in. They also wanted to enter the Sword Rain Tower, but they were blocked. The terrifying sword Qi cut them apart. The sword Qi made everyone's hair stand on end. Some people wanted to force their way up, charging in with their sacred artifacts. However, a beam of sword light cleaved them apart. Not only that, the sacred artifact was also cut in half. Not good, it's too strong. These people's scalps went numb. This sword Qi was not something they could withstand. Even a minor saint would not be able to withstand it. Damn it, how did that kid get in? Forget it, we can't go in. Let's wait here and capture his companions. When the time comes, he will be afraid to attack. These people rushed back again and began to attack Murong Qingqing crazily. Murong Qingqing stopped fighting and directly entered the Great Sage Tower. She could not activate the Great Sage Tower, but it was enough to defend. The attacks hit the Great Sage Tower and shook it. However, the Great Sage Tower did not move. The surrounding experts were so angry that they almost vomited blood. On the other side, inside the Sword Rain Tower, after Lin Xian entered, he stared at the front and could not take his eyes off it. In front of him was a sword steel that was 2 meters tall. It was engraved with sword Dao marks. Lin Xian could sense that the aura of the law of the sword on it was way too strong. With it, he could definitely comprehend the sword law. Lin Xian sat down cross-legged. He began to comprehend. However, 3 days later he opened his eyes. This sword steel was indeed a good thing, but it would not be easy to comprehend the sword law. Lin Xian had the great dragon's sword soul. His attack power was strong, and his sword skills were outstanding. Logically speaking, it should not be a problem for him to comprehend it, but it was the opposite. It was precisely because he possessed the great dragon sword soul that his sword skills and attacks were extremely powerful. Thus, it was 100 times more difficult for him to condense laws compared to ordinary swordsmen. Even though he had 7 heavenly Tao Golden Lotuses, it would still take him a lot of time to comprehend them. Under normal circumstances, Lin Xian wouldn't care at all. But now he couldn't. Morong Qingqing was still outside. Although he had the great sage tower, there was no telling what would happen. He had to leave as soon as possible. In his anxiety, he suddenly discovered that a bronze door had appeared in front of him. Lin Xian suddenly stood up. He was shocked. How could this be? Bewildered, he walked in and found that, as expected, he had entered. The bronze emissary looked at him, his eyes twinkling. "You're here." Lin Xian was astonished. "Senior, was there a bronze door here as well?" He was too shocked. The bronze emissary said that when you had more than 5 heavenly Tao golden lotuses, a bronze door could appear anywhere. If you want to, Lin Xian was shocked. It seemed that the more heavenly Tao golden lotuses there were, the better. He had 7 now, surpassing the previous people. But he knew that this wasn't the final result. For example, if he went into exchange, it was hard to say how many would be left. "Young man, what do you want to exchange for?" the bronze emissary asked. Lin Xian thought for a moment, then said, "I don't want any of the treasures listed. Right now, I just want a cultivation room that can allow me to comprehend the laws. However, I don't have enough time. I need more time." "Sure." The bronze emissary nodded. Lin Xian was stunned. He had only wanted to say what he wanted. He didn't expect that it would be possible. The bronze emissary said that 1 heavenly Tao golden lotus could be exchanged for 1 year. 1 year. Lin Xian could exchange for 7, but after 7 years, Morong Qingqing would have been sent out. He couldn't wait. The bronze emissary seemed to see Lin Xian's hesitation. He said 1 year in the space was only 1 day in the outside world. 7 years was equivalent to 7 days in the outside world. Can you exchange for it? What? There was such a good thing? Lin Xian was stunned. What was behind the bronze gate? It could even reverse time. Among all the laws, space was king, but time was supreme. It was even more mysterious than space. Time was a mystery to everyone, and it was irreversible. Therefore, this kind of time reversal rate was inconceivable to people. What kind of method was needed to achieve this? Probably even sage kings and great sages couldn't do it. He really didn't know what kind of existence was behind the Star of Destiny. He didn't need to care about this. He hurriedly said, "Okay, I'll exchange for 7 years." The 7 heavenly Tao golden lotuses disappeared. Lin Xian felt that he had left the bronze gate and returned to the sword steel. His surroundings became hazy, as if there was a mysterious power. It should be enough. Lin Xian took a deep breath and sat down cross-legged, wholeheartedly comprehending the sword Tao. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. In the blink of an eye, 5 years had passed. 5 days had also passed outside. In these 5 days, the great sage tower had withstood countless attacks, but it was still unscathed. Everyone was shocked, and their eyes were red with envy. Treasure. This was definitely a treasure for self-improvement. Such a defense was practically invincible. Damn it, they had to get it. Previously, they had only wanted to capture the people inside the spirit boat to threaten Lin Wudi. But now their thoughts were different. They had to get the Great Sage Tower, regardless of whether the people inside were dead or alive. This was even more precious than comprehending the laws of the sword. The 5 swords of Heavenly Mountain unleashed a world of ice and frost. Endless ice sword Qi completely froze the space around the Great Sage Tower. The other powerhouses were also trying, but they couldn't do anything. But they had plenty of patience. Inside the Great Sage Tower, Morong Qingqing was fine. She wasn't injured, and she had already recovered from her exhaustion. But she was frowning. The people outside were eyeing her covetously. The situation was very dangerous. Besides, she didn't know how Lin Xian was doing. In the blink of an eye, another day had passed. And on this day in the sword gauntlet, Lin Xian opened his eyes, and there was an additional law on his body. Countless laws intertwined, forming small swords that had a monstrous aura. It was abnormally terrifying. With Lin Xian's talent and the sword steel, he had finally condensed the laws of the sword in 6 years. There was less than a year left, and Lin Xian didn't waste it. He quickly consolidated it. Finally, on the 7th day, Lin Xian felt that the mysterious aura around him had disappeared. He stood up. He knew that the passage of time no longer existed. Now he had returned to the normal world. He looked at the sword steel in front of him and bowed, respectfully, 3 times. Without this sword steel, he would probably have to spend 60 years to comprehend the laws of the sword. But now, after 6 years, his speed had improved too quickly. Buzz! Lin Xian walked out. Those who had chased after him previously had to pay the price in blood. Chapter 3958. Outside, the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain, Purple Void Temple, Golden Ant, and the others all had gloomy expressions. It had been 7 days, and it had not been announced yet. The pagoda's defense was too strong. Even if it had been 7 months, they would have had to wait. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain snorted. The golden ant's eyes were also red. This was even more terrifying than their golden cauldron. They had to get it. Suddenly, someone turned around and exclaimed. There seemed to be a fluctuation from the Sword Rain Tower. Someone had come out. What? That kid had come out? Could it be that he had obtained a treasure in 7 days? No matter what he had obtained, they would kill him and snatch the fortune and the pagoda. These people revealed a ferocious expression. Lin Xian rushed out from the Raining Sword's pavilion side. He used the Void Walk again to avoid the Sure-Kill's sword and came out. As soon as he came out, he felt a terrifying chill. Snow fell in front of him, and ice covered thousands of miles. The hall was also frozen. He knew that the Great Sage Pagoda's defense was strong and Murong Qingqing should be fine. However, this scene still infuriated him. Previously, he was blocked by everyone in the Yinyang Hall. If he did not have the Void Beast skin, he would have died. And these people still dared to surround him. They really did not know what was good for them. He strode forward in large strides. Kid, you're out. Hurry up and kneel down. Give us the fortune, and we'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, you and your companions will die without a doubt. The 2 people from the Purple Void Temple rushed forward. They revealed a ferocious expression, and flames surged from their bodies. Buzz! Lin Xian raised his hand and condensed the Great Sun Sword. He slashed forward. With a poof, the 2 people's heads were chopped off. Blood splattered everywhere. The headless corpses screamed and retreated. Damn it! They were terrified. The sword just now made their hearts jump. They did not even have time to defend themselves, and were seriously injured. The other people behind were also terrified. The other party had attacked directly, and they felt that he was stronger than before. The Law of Sword. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain screamed. This was the Law of Sword. Did he condense the Law of Sword? Many people looked over. In the next moment, their pupils shrank. Damn, Brett, it's actually you. This time, Lin Xian did not hide anything. He revealed his true face, so the 5 swords of Tianshan screamed when they saw him. The Golden Ant and those from the Purple Virtual Temple were puzzled. They asked why. Do you know this brat? The people of the Purple Void Temple were gnashing their teeth. It doesn't matter if you know him or not. Today he would definitely die. Lin Wudi, why are you here? Weren't you besieged? How did you leave the Yinyang Palace? The 5 swords of Heavenly Mountain did not care at all. Instead, they screamed crazily. He really couldn't understand how the other party came out. The Purple Hollow Palace Golden Ant was also stunned. What? Lin Wudi? You said he was Lin Wudi? These people were dumbfounded. Then his face became extremely nervous. This was the legendary Great Demon King. Although they had never seen him before, they had heard of his name countless times. Unexpectedly, the young man in front of him was the one who was chasing after Lin Wudi. They were almost scared to death. Impossible. Wasn't Lin Wuti blocked by the endless army of saints in the Yin Palace? How could he be here? But they knew that the 5 swords of Tian Shan would never be wrong. Although I don't know how you came out. You dared to kill 2 of my junior brothers. Today I'll cut you into pieces. The 5 swords of Tian Shan gritted their teeth. 2 of the original 7 swords of Tian Shan had died. Now, their array was not as powerful as before. Today, I'll send the 5 of you to hell. I'll let you reunite in the netherworld. Lin Xian's voice was cold. Kid, don't be so arrogant. Our strength has changed these days. The eldest of Tian Shan Mountain gritted his teeth and roared. Indeed, they came back immediately after being defeated that day. These days, they had obtained a lot of treasures. Their swordsmanship had improved again. This time, there were the Golden Ant and the people of the Purple Hollow Palace. They didn't believe that they couldn't suppress the other party. Everyone, let's attack together. Don't give this kid a chance. Okay. The people of the Purple Hollow Palace nodded. The experts of the Golden Ant clan also looked serious. In the next moment, they made their move. Flames and terrifying power covered the sky and earth as they charged towards Lin Xian. In an instant, the void where Lin Xian was completely shattered. That scene was too terrifying. Kill! Lin Xian's body swayed, and the unparalleled sword appeared in his hand. The terrifying sword Law rushed into the sky. One sword split everything. The 2 saints vomited blood and flew backward. Their arms were cut off. Damn it! How could he be so strong? The sword Law that he had just condensed was much more powerful. Don't be afraid. We'll use ice to restrain him. The 5 swords of Tian Shan stood in 5 directions and used the Tian Shan sword technique to freeze everything. The terrifying sword Qi filled the air and enveloped the space where Lin Xian was. Frost formed on Lin Xian's body and around him. His speed slowed down. Great, I'll slow him down by 10,000 times. No matter how strong he is, he can't dodge our attack. Hurry up and attack. The leader of Tian Shan Mountain shouted angrily. The others were happy. Lin Xian moved like a snail in this world of ice. They attacked frantically. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The solar law spread out from his body. The 9 suns' divine fire jumped and turned into swords of the sun. They swept in all directions. Soon, he managed to block the frost sword technique. His speed became faster again. In an instant, he dodged the attacks that filled the sky. Kill! Lin Xian was incomparably powerful. At this moment, the sword of the 5 elements, sword of the sun, sword of death, sword of yin and yang, all kinds of laws turned into sword Qi that crisscrossed around him. The sword of the great sun completely blocked all the Tian Shan sword techniques and gradually suppressed them. It was as if 9 flaming swords were swaying between heaven and earth, crushing everything. The sword of the 5 elements continued to attack, causing the experts of the Golden Ant clan to tremble. The sword of death swept towards the saints of the Purple Void Temple. The pitch-black sword Qi could take away all life. Damn it! The people of the Purple Void Temple screamed. Before the black sword of death arrived, they felt that their lives were about to be taken away. They could only defend quickly. The monstrous flames swept through everything. They wanted to suppress it with their laws. But how was that possible? The strength of Lin Xian's laws was unparalleled. He split the flames and took away the lives of these people. Soon, 3 experts of the Purple Void Temple fell. The remaining 2 wanted to escape, but they were caught up by the sword of the 5 elements. The power of the 5 elements erupted. The various sword lights of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth sometimes scattered and sometimes merged. The 2 could not escape at all. In the end, they fell again. Chapter 39:59. It was too fast. It was so fast that they didn't even have time to take out their gourds before they died. The purple gourd spewed out monstrous flames, tore apart the sword light, and escaped by itself. Such sacred artifacts all had spirituality and could escape back to their sections. On the other side, the golden ants saw this scene and immediately took out the golden cauldron to defend. The 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain's pupils constricted. How did Lin Wuti become so much stronger than before? Just as they were thinking, the great sun sword rushed over. There were 9 swords that turned into 81 sword lights that crisscrossed between heaven and earth, causing their sword formation to tremble continuously. Not only that, the sword of death also flew over and turned into the Taiji sword. The power of yin and yang circulated between heaven and earth. This sword strike was extremely fast. Buzz! A crack appeared between the brows of the 4th elder of Heavenly Mountain. Before his soul could escape, it was destroyed. His body was reduced to ashes. 1 sword strike killed a top-tier sword saint. This made everyone's hair stand on end. Kill! Another one died. The remaining 4 of the 7 swords of Heavenly Mountain roared crazily. They had to take revenge. At this moment, they burned their laws with an incomparable aura. The eldest elder of Heavenly Mountain swallowed a bottle of pills. It was a kind of secret pill. In an instant, his strength and aura increased to an unbelievable level. Die! He attacked crazily. His strength was much stronger than before. Lin Xian's swordsmanship was actually suppressed. The swordsmanship trembled, and many of them were sent flying. Some of their lights dimmed. One could imagine how powerful the eldest elder of Heavenly Mountain was when he was angry. Lin Xian didn't fight the other party head-on at all. This kind of strength that was increased by a secret technique couldn't last for too long. He just wanted to delay the other party for a while. After the other party disappeared with the secret technique, he would kill the other party. Therefore, he ignored it and directly used the Taiji diagram to deal with the other party. As for himself, he charged towards the golden ant. The other party is coming. The 4 powerhouses of the golden ant clan looked extremely solemn. If we join forces, I don't believe that he can withstand our strength. The 4 of us quickly attacked. They rode the golden cauldron and rushed over. This attack was truly too powerful. It could shatter anything. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He struck out with the sword of water of the 5 elements sword. The monstrous sword technique transformed into waves that surged in front of him. The water was incomparably soft. As expected, when the attack hit the sea, it set off monstrous waves. He did not hurt Lin Xian. Furthermore, he was sinking deeper and deeper, as if he was about to be swallowed by the endless water swords. Damn it! The golden ants looked gloomy. The waves formed by the water swords created a whirlpool, and their golden cauldron started to spin as well. This strangling power caused their golden cauldron to become heavier and heavier, and they were almost trapped inside. Spread out! With a roar, a large golden hand reached out and overturned the seawater. Only then were they able to escape. Humph! Lin Xian coldly snorted. The 5 elements law transformed into fire law, burning fiercely, cooperating with the 9 yang divine flame to rush out. I'll cook you today. Monstrous flames enveloped the golden cauldron. The golden cauldron bloomed with light to resist, but gradually the golden cauldron became incomparably red. There was a monstrous power on it, causing white smoke to rise from the golden cauldron. Damn it! The people inside were burned by the fire, and some of their skin was charred. The smell of barbecued meat wafted out. Damn it, let's fight it out. Was the other party trying to treat them as food? They had also heard that the other party was a foodie demon king. Did he want to eat them? 1 person controlled the golden cauldron, and the other 3 rushed out. The Golden Ant clan had boundless strength, so their bloodline was innately able to comprehend the law of strength. At this moment, they used all their strength and struck out with several times their strength. It was too terrifying. Lin Xian activated the sword law and used 9 suns open the sky to compete with the other party. His palm seemed to have transformed into a long sword. As he opened and closed, it carried a sharp and indomitable force. Damn it, the other party's physique was too strong. He could actually compete with them. Not only that, Lin Xian also used an unparalleled secret technique. If the other party could increase his strength, so could he. When he activated 5 times his strength with a bang, he directly shattered the other party's hand, and the upper half of his body turned into a bloody mist. After the first Golden Saint was injured, the second and third were also injured. Especially the third one, his entire body exploded. They retreated frantically. Lin Xian struck out with the law of death again, turning it into a pitch-black lock that swept forward. No matter how strong the other party was, could they withstand the loss of their vitality? Sure enough, the bloody mist of the 3 people instantly faded. They screamed in horror. They used all kinds of divine abilities to block and even broke through the void in an attempt to escape. In Lin Xian's body, the great dragon, Sword Soul, roared. Dragon-shaped, Sword Qi slashed out. Together with the sword law, it killed in all directions. Those who escaped into the void and wanted to escape were all shocked out by him. In the end, the 3 Golden Saints were killed. The other one wanted to escape with the Golden Cauldron. Lin Xian rushed up with extreme speed. With a slap, he flipped the Golden Cauldron over, and the person inside was sent flying. He was also killed. After the Purple Void Temple, all the people of the Golden Clan were killed. The Golden Cauldron fled through the air. Lin Xian turned his head to look at Tian Shan Elder. Tian Shan Elder vomited blood. The Taiji diagram above his head kept bothering him. The elixir's time was almost up. Damn it, ancestral sword. Previously he was eating elixirs. Now he was using the top martial arts of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. That was ancestral sword. This was the foundation of the 10,000 Swords Pavilion as the holy city. Countless icy sword qi appeared on Tian Shan Elder's body and swept in all directions. At this moment, the Taiji diagram was also sent flying. Let's kill him together. After the 2 holy city experts were killed, the surrounding people did not dare to attack. The only ones who dared to attack were the 4 of them from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. After the other 3 heard this, they also used ancestral sword. Every one of them carried tens of thousands of sword qi. The 4 of them charged towards Lin Xian. The 4 of them were very strong. Even Lin Xian did not dare to touch them. Ancestral sword was a peerless treasure of a sword saint. Just looking at it made his eyes red. He kept retreating. At the same time, he struck out with the sword of water, quickly forming waves to block them. These sword qi. At the same time, he used stellar transposition, causing these people's ancestral sword to collide with each other, erupting with endless aura. It was useless. The 4 of them spread out and carefully controlled. Today, you will die without a doubt. The 4 of them were like sword gods, quickly attacking. Buzz. The great sage tower trembled, and Morong Qingqing rushed out. Brother Xian, let me help you. She struck out with the 7-colored phoenix, sweeping away 2 sword saints. I'll hold 2 of them back. With Morong Qingqing's bloodline and methods, it should be no problem to hold 2 of them back. Lin Xian roared and rushed forward. There were only 2 left. He could make a strong move. Chapter 3960. He pointed his sword. A yin-yang sword light rushed out with a terrifying aura that could cut through everything. The law of sword surrounded it and jumped, increasing the attack power of the sword. Tian Shan Elder and Tian Shan Elder, 5th, rushed over. Their attacks pierced through the void. The battle between Lin Xian and the other 2 was earth-shattering. The sect returning swords was very powerful. Lin Xian activated the secret technique of quintuple strength and sent Tian Shan Elder fifth flying. Tian Shan Elder was still able to hold on. This surprised him. Someone could block his quintuple strength. Was this the sect returning swords? A piercing light burst out from his eyes. His sword soul roared and went all out. Another sword, 9 suns splitting the sky. Tian Shan Elder was finally sent flying. Countless cracks appeared on his arm, and the sect returning swords was almost broken. His face was filled with fear. As a sword saint, nothing was more terrifying than the sect returning swords. However, the other party almost broke his sect returning swords just now. What was that dragon roar? Did the other party have anything to do with the Dragon Ball? Next, the dragon roar shook the sky. Streams of dragon heart sword chi resisted the sect returning swords. Finally, Tian Shan Elder's sect returning swords was broken. The sword split Tian Shan Elder into 2. All kinds of laws were used. Tian Shan Elder was defeated. Tian Shan Elder fifth screamed in fear. Suddenly his head flew into the air. The Yin-Yang sword shattered his head. His soul escaped, but it was chained by the Yin-Yang sword chi and locked in the air. The heavenly secret divine eyes released 2 soul swords and destroyed it. Tian Shan Elder fifth was dead. Tian Shan Elder had just recovered when he was pierced by a sword and was seriously injured again. He was chased all over the world by Lin Xian. Impossible, elder brother. Tian Shan Elder second and Elder third's eyes instantly turned red. They worked together to use the sect returning swords to blast the 7-colored phoenix away and wanted to escape. Morom Ching shouted, "Are you trying to escape?" Azure with 9 slashes. She waved her hand and slashed 9 times in a row. These 9 attacks were too powerful. Even though Tian Shan Elder second and Elder third had used the sect returning swords, they were still scared out of their wits. After 9 attacks, the 3rd elder of Tian Shan Mountain was completely destroyed. Heavenly Mountain's second brother also lost an arm. His entire body was covered in blood as he frantically fled. How could this woman be so terrifying? Not only did the other party possess the bloodline of the phoenix, but he could also tell that the other party was from the Kunlun Pavilion. The green wood 9 slashes was one of the Kunlun Pavilion's ultimate techniques. Morong Ching and Lin Xian teamed up to hunt them down, while Tian Shan Eldest and Second Eldest fled all over the world. The surrounding people were all terrified. This news quickly spread out. When the people outside heard about it, they were stunned. How was that possible? Lin Wudi had actually gone to the Palace of All Life and killed so many people? Impossible. We've been guarding this place all this time. How could he possibly escape? These people had all gone crazy. The 23 sword saints of the 10,000 swords pavilion couldn't believe it. Lei Zhen couldn't believe it either. Would anyone be able to escape from under their noses? However, the great demons of the demon city had ugly expressions on their faces. Damn it, he really did get it. Hurry up and chase him to the Palace of All Life. These people crazily rushed over. Everyone else was baffled. At this time, Lei Zhen received a secret report. It was said that 9 Chilants had brought the Void Beast to assassinate him. Could it be that the Void Beast was injured and the kid got the Void Beast skin? If it was the Void Beast skin, he could indeed use the space to escape. Hurry up and go to the Palace of All Life. He also rushed over with the people of Thunder God City. The 23 sword saints of the 10,000 swords pavilion also set off together, because according to the news, only 2 of the 7 swords of Tian Shan Mountain were left. Moreover, they could die at any time. Hurry up and go to the Palace of All Life. These people crazily rushed out. The Palace of All Life had long been in a mess. The people inside saw 4 figures. The front fled, and the back chased after them. They knew that Lin Wudi was chasing after Tian Shan Eldest and Second Eldest. The remaining 2 of the 7 swords of Tian Shan Mountain were in an extremely sorry state. In the palace of all life, the Crimson Dragon, Toad, and the others had also received the news. They also hurriedly took action. Once the news spread, there would definitely be countless experts coming to hunt them down. They followed the trail all the way. Countless experts had come to the palace of all life. Quickly find Lin Wudy, kill him, capture him, and obtain the good fortune on him. A huge storm was stirred up here. In the end, the second eldest was still killed. Tian Shan eldest was seriously injured, but he was the strongest of the 7 swords of Tian Shan Mountain, so he could hold on until now. The sword light on his body bloomed. He had been using the 10,000 swords returned to origin, and he didn't dare to stop at all, because once he didn't have the 10,000 swords returned to origin, the Tian Shan sword technique wouldn't be able to defeat the opponent at all. Not to mention, there was still the terrifying existence of the Kunlun pavilion beside him. He had to wait until their main force arrived. That would be good. Lin Wudy, you're courting death. Just as Tian Shan eldest was about to run out of oil and couldn't hold on any longer, a terrifying voice finally sounded between heaven and earth. Immediately after, 23 sword lights broke through the 9 heavens and descended from the sky. They completely enveloped the surroundings. Heavens, sword saints, 23 sword saints. These were the experts of the 10,000 swords pavilion. It's over, Lin Wudy can't escape. Great, Tian Shan eldest was overjoyed. Kid, I'll definitely make you suffer a fate worse than death. Their people had finally arrived. 23 sword saints were enough to sweep through everything. So what if the other 2 were strong? However, he was still careless. The arrival of his teammates made him let down his guard. And Lin Xian seized this opportunity. The sword maxim, the yin-yang maxim, and the 5 elemental maxim exploded together. Tian Shan eldest was sent flying. His soul was sent flying, and the yin-yang maxim obliterated it. No, Tian Shan eldest was terrified. His fellow disciples were right in front of him. He would be saved in the next second. However, the other party attacked mercilessly. How dare you? The 23 sword saints were completely enraged. Did the other party still dare to attack in front of them? He was courting death. The 23 of them attacked with all their might. The terrifying sword maxim exploded. The sword maxim of the 23 of them were all different. Some are violent, some are cold, some had a strange flame aura, and some had an endless chill. In short, it was abnormally terrifying. Lin Xian still didn't dodge. He used the last of his strength to destroy Tian Shan eldest soul. Then he took Morong Qingqing and instantly hid in the Great Sage Pagoda. 23 sword chi slashed the Great Sage Pagoda, sending it flying. The void shattered, and all living beings within 1,000,000 miles prostrated themselves. At this moment, everyone saw it. What a terrifying sword chi! It was the 23 sword saints of the 10,000 swords pavilion. They should have found Lin Wudy. Let's go. They all rushed over. Inside the Great Sage Pagoda, Lin Xian and Morong Qingqing's blood was boiling, but it wasn't serious. Not to mention 23 sword saints. Even 230 sword saints wouldn't be able to break through the Great Sage Pagoda. Chapter 3961. Sure enough, their blood and qi surged, and they quickly suppressed it. The Great Sage Pagoda floated in the air. This Great Sage artifact, Lin Xian's defense was already amazing. Damn it, the 23 sword saints attacked and then caught the corpse of Tian Shan Mountain's leader. However, there was no aura left. Blood mist filled the sky. His soul was destroyed, and he couldn't be resurrected. Damn it. The 23 sword saints roared, their eyes instantly turning red. Kill! Kill Lin Wuti and take revenge. They rushed over, but in the next moment their faces turned ugly. Was the other party not dead? The pagoda spun between heaven and earth, but it didn't break. This was unbelievable. With the 23 of them attacking, even the small saints would be able to take the lead, right? But the other party was hiding in the pagoda, and he didn't seem to be injured. Damn it, the 23 sword saints attacked again. The void where the great sage was kept shattering from tens of thousands of miles to hundreds of thousands of miles to millions of miles. The surrounding people chased after him. What happened? They were frightened and didn't dare to get close. Lei Zhen's face was ferocious, and the 9 Qilins also came with cold expressions. Those sages were all facing a great enemy. Lin Wuti had probably been killed to the point that his heart and soul had been destroyed. Damn it, these lunatics from the Myriad Sword Pavilion. Don't they know how to show mercy? Lin Wuti had a lot of fortune on him. They weren't worried about Lin Xian's life, but that the treasure would be destroyed. Not good, that kid will definitely die. The corner of the toad's mouth twitched. The Crimson Dragon and the Northern Demon's faces were cold. Li Hongxiu's expression was solemn. Could such a violent attack be blocked? The sword qi disappeared, and the black hole dissipated. A pagoda floated between heaven and earth, receiving a lot of impact. However, there wasn't even a crack on it. The light it emitted was too mysterious. Nothing happened at all. What level was this sacred artifact? Could it be beyond the moon level? Was this a sun-level sacred artifact? These people were crazy. The other party actually had such a sacred artifact. The 23 sword saints' faces were cold. Lei Zhen, the 9 Qilins, and the surrounding sages also had ugly expressions. How could they fight like this? Catch their companions. Those people must be coming. At this moment, Lei Zhen roared. The others also came back to their senses. Yes, let's move. They looked at the Crimson Dragon, the Northern Devil, and the others and attacked madly. Even Li Hongxiu was affected. Do you want to die? Li Hongxiu shouted angrily. She was the daughter of the Saint King. Yet there was still someone who dared to attack her. The people who had attacked were shrouded in their auras. They could only sense the nomological laws, but they were unable to sense any specific abilities. These people had concealed their methods and were using some secret techniques to attack. They wanted to take advantage of the chaos to kill her. Damn it, Li Hongxiu's face was cold. There must be some people who were afraid that her rise would threaten those on the pilgrim rankings. Li Hongxiu's sleeves kept waving. The toad, the Crimson Dragon, and the others also counterattacked. All kinds of great das interweaved. Soon they escaped. There was no other way. There were too many people. As the toad ran, it roared, "Damn it! How dare you treat me like this? I won't let you off." As soon as he finished speaking, he was attacked by tens of thousands of lightning bolts, which charred his entire body. Capture them and make Lin Wuti surrender. These people's eyes were red. This was the only way. At this moment, the great sage tower also moved. Lin Xian naturally wouldn't allow his friends to be threatened. He drove the great sage tower and rushed over. With the power of the great sage tower, Lin Xian couldn't use it at all. One attack would probably be able to deplete all of his energy. After all, this was a weapon that only a great sage could use. However, he only needed to use it to fly. There was no problem at all. He didn't need to use the power of a great sage artifact. He just needed to charge forward. Countless sword qi was enough to send many saints flying. As expected, he forcefully opened up a path of blood. He led the Jiangbei monster, the Crimson Dragon, away. Then he brought Li Hongxiu in. In the end, only the toad was left. "Damn it, kid! You can't burn the bridge after crossing it. I've treated you well." The toad was chased by countless people and screamed crazily. In the end, Lin Xian also made a move and brought the toad into the Great Sage Tower. Everyone surrounded the Great Sage Tower. The great sage tower was sent flying countless times and kept tumbling. Lin Xian and the others inside also felt their blood boil. Li Hongxie was shocked. What level was this? Was this the weapon of a great sage king? Wasn't it too terrifying? She had only seen such a weapon in her father's possession. She had never seen the others before. Lin Xian didn't say the specific level. Instead, he said that with this thing, they wouldn't be able to break in. The toad kept roaring. Damn it! How dare they chase after me? I'll kill them when I have the chance. The Crimson Dragon and the others also had cold expressions. Damn it, counterattack. They began to attack from the great sage tower. They were very strong. Now that they didn't have to worry about anything, they naturally attacked crazily. All kinds of divine abilities and laws surged outside. Lin Xian even conjured all kinds of swords of laws and slashed horizontally and vertically. In an instant, many people were seriously injured. They all frantically retreated and widened the distance. Damn, Linwoody, come out if you dare. That's right, didn't you claim to be invincible? Why are you a coward? Leave this pagoda if you dare. One by one, the saints were clamoring. Lin Xian, who was in the great sage tower, laughed coldly when he heard this. How dare you talk back to me? Aren't you just relying on your numbers? Who would dare to fight one-on-one? Who would dare to fight 1-on-10, let alone 1-on-1? Kid, ignore them. Hundreds of people are chasing after one of us. What kind of heroes are they? Just kill them from afar. Lin Xian wasn't afraid of 1-on-10. But now it wasn't a problem of 10 or 20 people, but hundreds or even thousands of people. With so many saints working together, no one could stop them. The toad roared even louder. Its mouth was capable of infuriating people to death without paying for it. Damn, Lei Zhen, aren't you awesome? If you have the ability, come out and fight me 1-on-1. I'll slap you to death. And you 9-headed Qilin, what's so great about that? I'll chop it up and eat it. Is the 10,000 Swords Pavilion so awesome? 23 people chasing after one. If you have the ability, let's fight 1-on-1. Didn't we kill the 7 swords of Tianshan too? The toad's clamoring voice could be heard. The sages outside all had ugly expressions on their faces. Damn it, they really deserved to die. Indeed, they really didn't dare to fight 1-on-1. They didn't even dare to fight 1-on-10. The 7 swords of Tianshan, the 7 terrifying sword saints, had been killed. The others wouldn't be a match either. They could only rely on their numbers. However, this trick was useless because they couldn't open the pagoda in front of them at all. Lin Wudi, come out and fight me 1-on-1 if you have the guts. Lei Zhen stood out. Chapter 3962. I lost you last time, but this time my strength has increased greatly. I will definitely be able to kill you personally. The lightning on his body was incomparably terrifying. You're so shameless. Now you want to fight 1-on-1? Fine. Get them all out of the Hall of Life, and we'll agree to fight you 1-on-1. The toad mocked. Previously, when you brought people to surround the Yinyang Hall, did you think about fighting 1-on-1? Now that you want to fight 1-on-1, isn't it to lure us out? Kid, do it. Lin Xian didn't say anything else. He controlled the great sage pagoda and charged over. The laws of sword erupted and stabbed directly at Lei Zhen. All kinds of sword qi swept out like a storm. Lei Zhen was furious. He was courting death. He struck out lightning that filled the sky to resist. However, he was still forced back. Just the great sage pagoda alone was enough to send him flying. Damn it, you don't dare to fight? Lei Zhen roared. If you want to fight 1-on-1, I'll grant you your wish. Suddenly, Lin Xian used a method and directly pulled Lei Zhen into the great sage pagoda. In the next moment, an earth-shattering sound rang out from the great sage pagoda. The people outside were dumbfounded by what they saw. The people from Thunder God City were even more crazy. Not long after, Lei Zhen was thrown out. His body was broken and bleeding, and his face was swollen like a pig's head. He roared crazily, "Damn it, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Young master, are you all right?" The people from Thunder God City also rushed over. They could see that Lei Zhan was injured and tortured. However, his life wasn't in danger. This made them heave a sigh of relief. However, their faces soon darkened. Was this a slap in the face? It was a crazy slap in the face. Nine-headed Qilin, aren't you very powerful? Then come over too. Lin Xian controlled the Great Sage Pagoda and charged towards Nine-headed Qilin. Nine-headed Qilin was scared out of his wits. Lei Zhen almost died when he went in. If he went in, wouldn't he be killed by the other party? He only had 7 lives left. He didn't dare to waste them. He fled crazily. However, the 2 demons beside him didn't escape. They were pulled in. After a series of explosions, the Great Sage Pagoda suddenly calmed down. What was going on? Why wasn't anyone thrown out? Could he have been killed? After a while, the aroma of barbecued meat wafted from the Great Sage Tower. Everyone vomited blood. F***CK, these 2 greater demons must have thought of them as food and stewed them. Damn it. Nine-headed Qilin and the others were so angry that they were about to spit out blood. However, they did not dare to step forward anymore. It was like an invincible tortoiseshell. They couldn't get in, but the other party could pull them in. If he went in alone and faced Lin Xian and his terrifying friends, even if he didn't die, he would lose a layer of skin. Lei Zhen was also scared. Fortunately, he was a human. If he was a demonic beast, he would have been stewed. This action shocked everyone. They didn't expect it to work this way. Was the 10,000 Swords Pavilion very powerful? Lin Xian controlled the Great Sage Pagoda and charged towards the 23 Sword Saints. Damn it. The 23 Sword Saints frantically retreated. They didn't dare to fight against the other party. The Great Sage Pagoda was very fast. It broke through the void and cut off everything. Gather together. The 23 people wanted to gather together, but in an instant a white monkey appeared and knocked a few of them unconscious, completely pulling them in. In the next moment, there was an earth-shaking sound. Not long after, 5 Sword Saints were thrown out. There were only heads and no corpses. 5 heads drifted in the wind. It was abnormally miserable. Dead. Such powerful martial venerables and sword saints were killed in a short period of time. It was too unbelievable. This Lin Wudi was too terrifying. Not only that, not only was Lin Wudi inside, but there was also Li Hongxiu and the Saintess of the Kunlun Pavilion. His companions were also very powerful. How could the 5 sword saints be a match for them? Run away. These people fled frantically. Those who were slow to escape were dragged in and died. Originally, everyone had gathered to form a terrifying army to kill Lin Xian. Who would have thought that in the end they would be chased like stray dogs? Haha, Lei Zhen, come and fight me one-on-one. I'll slap you to death. There were also 9 Qilins. Hurry up and come over to die. The toad shouted inside. Their main targets were these top prodigies. On Lei Zhen's back, a pair of thunder wings kept flapping. The 9 Qilins wished they could grow 2 more legs. They were too aggrieved. They had cultivated for so long, and their cultivation had increased greatly. They originally wanted to hold their heads high. However, they realized that they were even more aggrieved than before. In the end, these people all fled the palace of all life, not daring to stay any longer. Next, Lin Xian and the others began to travel around the palace of all life to collect all kinds of resources. Their cultivations were also rapidly increasing. Lin Xian could feel that he was not far from making a breakthrough in his cultivation. Soon, he would be able to enter the ranks of the 5th firmament. Boom! Boom! On this day, a loud sound suddenly came from the depths of the Roland's palace. Following that, an extremely terrifying aura spread out. It caused everyone in the 5 palaces to be terrified. What happened? Let's go and take a look." These people rushed out and rushed towards the depths of the Roland's palace. Lin Xian and the others naturally felt it too. They were puzzled. The Crimson Dragon was drooling. Could it be that another treasure had appeared in the Roland's palace? As for the toad, its expression changed. Damn, could it be that someone had touched it? No, I have to go take a look. It turned into a stream of light and flew quickly. Let's go too. Lin Xian called out. Everyone flew and followed the toad out of the palace of all life, heading towards the depths of the Roland's palace. The others also came out. Along the way, they encountered Lin Xian and the others and retreated. Now, not many people dared to provoke Lin Xian and the others. In front lay Zhan, the 9 Qilins, Gao Yu, Bai Luo, and the others were all there. Even the great, desolate mansions Yu was there. When some people saw Lin Xian and the others, they all turned their heads, their eyes filled with murderous intent. However, no one made a move because the aura in front was too abnormal. It was as if an ancient overlord had come back to life. Not only that, there were golden runes shining between heaven and earth in front of them. Golden light filled the sky and scattered over. As a result, everyone could only stop here, unable to take a step forward. Someone could not help but want to try, but in the end his body shattered and he screamed. The others were also stunned. What was going on? The toad stood at the front, its eyes wide open as if it wanted to see through everything. Lin Xian also activated the heavenly secrets, child prodigy. He passed through layers of space and saw a shocking scene. In front of him, there was a figure in black robes with his back facing him. That was Black Mountain. Lin Xian was shocked. This commotion was caused by Black Mountain. It was too unbelievable. Was Black Mountain fighting for the treasure? One had to know that Black Mountain was a great sage when he was alive, although he had fallen and was only a remnant soul. His strength might not be as strong as theirs. However, his methods and foresight far surpassed theirs. The fact that he was here meant that there must be something incredible ahead. Chapter 3963. He looked carefully and found that there was a golden platform in front of Heishan, and there was a figure lying on the golden platform. It was a woman wearing an ancient Taoist robe. Her eyes were closed as if she was asleep. The woman was extremely beautiful. What was even more surprising was that her lower body was actually that of a snake. Was this a demonic beast? Lin Xian was surprised. Could it be an ancient corpse? At this moment, he saw Heishan move. Heishan took a few more steps forward. Suddenly, the golden platform shone brightly and burst out with an unparalleled light, tearing apart the space in the sky. In the next moment, everyone felt a terrifying storm that wanted to tear them apart. At the same time, they all screamed. That was because the light pierced through space, allowing them to see the scene in front of them. Heavens, there was actually someone in front of them. How was that possible? Who was that person? They also saw a man in a black robe, but they did not recognize him. Look, there was something in front of him. Everyone saw that there was a golden platform in front of them, and there was a mysterious woman on it. She had a human body and a snake tail. Could it be an ancient demonic beast? Everyone was shocked. The toad screamed crazily as he crawled on the ground. Her Majesty, Lin Xian was shocked. Could it be that the toad knew? He asked twice and found that the toad's eyes were red and it could not hear any sound at all. It was really strange. It seemed that he would have to wait until this guy calmed down before asking. Lin Xian stared ahead, not knowing what Heishan wanted to do. Heishan stood in front. He was still quite a distance away from the golden platform. Moreover, he found that the space in front of him seemed very close, but it was like a natural chasm that spanned across there, and it was impossible to cross. So close, yet worlds apart? Heishan's eyes flickered. However, it seemed that he did not give up. His gaze was fixed on the sleeping woman in front of him. To be precise, the thing in the woman's hand. It was a ruby. It was made of some unknown gem, and it was abnormally mysterious. Shan used a few secret techniques to pass through so close, yet worlds apart. However, it triggered a change. The ruby suddenly shone, and the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Shan was sent flying. At the same time, the entire golden palace shook violently. Not good. Retreat quickly. Lei Zhen, the 9 Qilins, and the others narrowed their eyes and retreated in an instant. Lin Xian and the others also felt a sense of crisis. Come in quickly. He took out the great sage pagoda again and let Morong Qingqing and the others in. When he left, he found that the toad was still lying there. Let's go. He stretched out a large hand and grabbed the toad, bringing it into the great sage tower. Then he shattered the void and escaped from this place. Your Majesty, I want to follow you. The toad was growling. He said, Why did you pull me back? The crimson dragon scorned. Brother, aren't you too spineless? Isn't it just a woman? Don't tell me you're going to die for her just because you took a look. In a while, this brother will bring you to find many beautiful demonic beasts and let you have your fill. What the hell do you know? That's my queen. She's not someone other people can compare to. The toad's eyes turned red. Lin Xian pulled the crimson dragon aside and told him not to provoke the toad. Then he asked, Do you know that sleeping woman? Tell me, what is her identity? Why are you here? Kid, don't try to trick me. You shouldn't know these things. If you know, you'll be in big trouble. Lin Xian was shocked. The others were even more curious. They asked one after another. However, the toad didn't even want to say a single word. In the end, they could only give up. Northern Demon's face was solemn. He was very worried. He didn't know how his master was doing. Just now, he saw that Black Mountain was sent flying by the impact. The crimson dragon beside him said, Don't worry. How could anything happen to that old monster? He has more tricks up his sleeve than we thought. Lin Xian also comforted him. Black Mountain should be fine. Although that was the case, they were still curious. Black Mountain might know the secret of the Roland's golden palace. They flew all the way until they were far away before they calmed down. The others also had lingering fears. However, the Roland's golden palace was shaking more and more violently. The terrifying aura in the distance was still erupting. Oh no, it looks like we have to leave this place. Everyone was unwilling. There were countless treasures in the Roland's golden palace, but now they had to leave. Let's go. Lin Xian led the group away. They had obtained many benefits. If they stayed any longer, their lives would be in danger. They also left the Roland's golden palace and went outside. The Roland's golden palace shook violently. The door suddenly opened and a terrifying golden light shot into the sky. The entire celestial fate planet shook violently because of this movement. There seemed to be endless laws in the world. The great Tao intertwined. Oh no, something unimaginable has happened. Their expressions were solemn. In the depths of the celestial fate planet, the eyes of the people on the pilgrim ranking also shone with a cold light. Looks like it's about time. Let's go. These people brought their followers and subordinates and quickly rushed into the distance. They scattered in all 5 directions. The great Tao in the sky scattered down, completely drowning the space where the 5 of them were. A shocking change occurred. The entire celestial fate planet was divided into 9 regions. The 5 people on the pilgrim ranking each occupied one of the 5 regions. The other 4 regions were empty. No one had entered them yet. This scene was shocking. There was actually an unexpected change. It seemed that it exceeded their expectations. These people were surprised. They had originally thought that there would be at most 6 regions. Perhaps there were only 5 regions, but he didn't expect there to be 9. The eyes of the 5 geniuses on the pilgrim ranking shone. Their subordinates were delighted. This was great. This way they would all have a chance. Young master, why don't you let us give it a try? Their subordinates were excited. The 5 geniuses nodded. These people were all their followers. If they could snatch one more area, it would be a great advantage for them. The final path was about to open. Next was to seize the Destiny Stone. They had to obtain their own Destiny Stone. Their subordinates were overjoyed when they received the order. They quickly rushed to the 4 uninhabited regions. But soon their expressions changed. They discovered that even though they had crossed over the neighboring regions, the great Tao that was pressing down on them had become heavier. They even turned into chains, binding their bodies. Damn it, they were being suppressed. When the 5 geniuses saw this, their eyes shone with a cold light. Was this the suppression of regions? It seemed that they couldn't move around freely in the 9 regions. Chapter 3964. Some of them were unwilling to give up and wanted to stay here by force. There are also some people who had thoughts of retreating. Under this kind of suppression, could they beat the latecomers? They were not confident. At this time, Lin Xian and the others also felt the rumbling in the depths of planet Tianming. These people did not know what was going on. They retreated frantically in all directions. At this moment, the great path in the sky descended, and everyone was divided into different areas. Lin, Xian, Morong Qingcheng, and the others were together because they were in the great sage pagoda. There were many people with them. The most dazzling of them all was Lei Zhen and a few experts from the Myriad Sword Pavilion. Yu Yu from the great desolate mansion was also here. Of course, the other saints and some experts of the older generation were also here. They looked around, their faces full of surprise. What was going on? Could it be that they had been sealed? No, look. Someone looked down from the sky. The entire planet Tianming was divided into 9 areas, and they all led to the deepest part of the planet Tianming's heart. These people rose into the sky and found that it was indeed so. For example, the 9 Chilants were in the area next to them. There were others further away. Among them, there were 5 figures that shone like stars in the night sky. Their auras were much stronger than the 9 Chilants, Lei Zhan, and the others. When Li Hongxiu saw them, she exclaimed, "The 5 people on the pilgrim roll. They had indeed appeared." Was it them? Morong Qingcheng, Lin Xian, and the others also looked over. They saw that the 5 figures were too terrifying. Their auras were at the peak of the 5th heavenly layer. They knew that these people were originally minor saints, but they were able to enter because they suppressed their cultivation. Even so, they were stronger than ordinary 5th heavenly layer experts. Probably not many people were a match for them. There were a total of 7 people on the pilgrim roll. Now, 5 of them had appeared, and 2 of them were not. Or rather, they were already here, but they were hiding. Li Hongxiu began to introduce them to Lin Xian, Morong Qingcheng, and the others in detail. She did not know much. She only knew the names of these people and their sections. I don't know the specifics. Look at that guy over there. He's covered with sword light and looks like a sword god. He's an expert from the 10,000 Swords Pavilion. His name is Wan Jiani. The other one wore black armor and carried a long spear on his back. He was Yu Quan of the great desolate mansion. He was Yu's older brother. Lin Xian was shocked when he heard this. Yu was the head disciple of the great desolate mansion. He never thought that his elder brother was actually one of the geniuses on the holy pilgrimage list. At this moment, many people cried out in surprise, "What a beautiful woman!" There were even some people that couldn't help but look toward that area. When Li Hongxiu saw this, she snorted coldly and pointed in that direction. She said, "Do you see that woman?" Her name was Qin Xiener, and she was from the Joyous Union Palace. This woman cultivated this kind of seduction technique. Who knew how many 5th layer saints had been mercilessly toyed with by her? Speaking of this person, Li Hongxiu snorted heavily. It seemed that she was very dissatisfied with his cultivation method and actions. Lin Xian smiled awkwardly, then asked, "Where are the others?" He looked in several other directions. Li Hongxiu was shocked. She never thought that Lin Xian would be unaffected. One had to know that this Qin Xianer was extremely powerful. She had a special bloodline constitution, coupled with her cultivation method. Some saints couldn't escape at all. As expected, even Lei Zhen and the 9 Qilins had a trace of passion in their eyes. However, Lin Xian didn't have it at all. How could she know that Lin Xian's mind was so firm? No seduction, technique, or illusion could affect him. Li Hongxiu took a deep breath and continued to introduce. The one wearing a Taoist robe and a mask was from the Limitless sect. He was called Chao Tiansheng. Lin Xian looked over and was shocked. This person was very special. Indeed, she sensed a special aura from this person. However, he couldn't describe it with words. Furthermore, the mask that the other party was wearing was also green and had fangs. It was extremely terrifying. The last one was called Mo Xiao, and he was from the Acheron Hall. Acheron Hall? Hearing this, Lin Xian was surprised. Murong Qingcheng also frowned slightly. Previously, when they were in the Palace of All Life, they were attacked by the powerhouses of the Acheron Hall. At that time, they didn't know who was hiding in the dark and communicated with the countless bone army, which almost killed them. This Mo Xiao looked ordinary, but the aura on his body was extremely terrifying. Under his feet, there was a yellow river surging. That was the water of the Acheron. There were white bones rolling in it. They were all corpses of saints. Just this scene alone was enough to make one's scalp tingle. Needless to say, the strength of these 5 people was extremely terrifying. What about the other 2? The Crimson Dragon also couldn't wait to ask. Who were those 2 people? Li Hongxiu said, "The 2 people who didn't appear. One of them is the spatial powerhouse I told you about, Gufeng. The other person is very strange. I only know that he's called Wu Xan. However, I don't know what he looks like. I only know that he's a mysterious assassin, perhaps from the mortal world." A top assassin in the mortal world. Lin Xian sucked in a breath of cold air. The Crimson Dragon also said, "Damn, this organization is really haunting us." Gufeng had spatial abilities, so no one knew when he would appear. As for Wu Xan, he was even more terrifying. His hiding skills were very strange. Perhaps he had already arrived. Moreover, he was hiding right beside them. These 2 people were extremely dangerous. After Lin Xian and the others heard this, they had a general understanding in their hearts. Among all the people who entered the heavenly fate planet this time, these 7 people were probably the most powerful. However, they still didn't know who was stronger and who was weaker among these people. The pilgrimage leaderboard was still a little far from them. After all, these were all minor saints. As for those below the pilgrimage leaderboard, Lin Xian was confident that he could defeat everyone. Everyone waited patiently. During this time, they also learned that each area could lead to the depths of the heavenly fate heart. And in the depths of the heart, there was the legendary heavenly fate stone. Only there could they see their own heavenly fate. The so-called heavenly fate was actually the scene of their own future. What these people wanted to see was their future path, their limits, and where they could go. Could the future be calculated? Wasn't the future supposed to be mysterious and unpredictable? Lin Xian was astonished. Li Hongxiu said softly, "Indeed, that was the case. The calculation was based on your best condition. In other words, it was your limit. Everyone, no matter how talented or how good the resources were, would always have a limit. In other words, once you reach there, it would be as difficult as ascending to heaven to take another step forward. Perhaps you would never be able to take another step forward in your lifetime." Chapter 3965. What we need to do now is to try our best and see where our limits lie. Hearing this, Lin Xian and the others fell silent. Indeed, becoming a great emperor was everyone's goal, but whether they could achieve it was another matter entirely. And one's own limits were indeed related to one's future path and the concrete future. That was why they were so eager to know. I wonder where my limits lie. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. Murong Qingqing, who was standing on the side, also said, "Could it be that what we see is definitely the future? Is there no one who can break through the heavenly fate?" Li Hongxiu said, "Of course there is." The heavenly fate planet was only under normal conditions. For example, a person's future limit was to become a sage king. However, if they were killed when they became a sage venerate, they naturally wouldn't be able to become a sage king. That would cause them to die prematurely. Of course, there was another way to break through the heavenly fate. However, they had never heard of such a person. Perhaps there were such people in the ancient and primordial era. All right, don't be so sad. We're definitely very talented. I'm going to become the Dragon Emperor. I have to see what my heavenly fate is. The dark divine dragon's eyes shone brightly. The others were also filled with ambition. Let's go. These people came out of the great sage tower and charged forward. There were 9 regions. According to the rules of the heavenly fate planet, they were in the 9th region, while Chao Tiansheng was in the 1st. The other regions were in a clockwise order, forming a circle that divided the entire heavenly fate planet. They quickly flew toward the depths of the planet. They met many people along the way. Some of them were terrified when they saw Lin Xian. Of course, there were also some who had cold gazes. They even secretly transmitted their voices. It seemed like they wanted to attack. Lin Xian ignored them. It was fine if they didn't attack, but if they did, he could guarantee that they would know the meaning of despair and regret. Their speed was very fast, and they flew all the way. However, the heavenly fate planet was very big. This time, they were heading toward the depths of the planet. There were also some powerful beasts and terrifying traps. They hadn't entered the planet before, but now that they were, it was very dangerous. Sure enough, there were people who died in front of them. Blood soared into the sky, and it was incomparably miserable. "We have to be careful," Lin Xian reminded. Everyone else also had solemn expressions on their faces. Behind them was a man in black armor. His face was cold. Lin Wudi's good days were coming to an end. I didn't expect him to be assigned to the same area as me. I want to be the ruler of the 9th district. The one who spoke was precisely Yu Yu. His older brother, Yu Quan, had occupied a region. Thus, he wanted to occupy a region as well. That was because there was no pilgrimage list in this region. As such, it did not fear anyone. Whether it was Lin Wudi or Lei Zhen, they would all crawl at his feet. In front of them, Lin Xian and the others were moving forward at an extremely fast speed. After a long journey, they finally arrived at the depths of celestial fate. There was a dangerous aura ahead. Everyone felt their blood run cold. Lin Xian frowned as he activated his God's Heaven Eye and scanned his surroundings. Suddenly, he realized that there was an ancient tree sitting cross-legged in front of him. That dangerous aura was emitted by the ancient tree. It was an extremely terrifying tree demon. He did not know what realm it had reached. Perhaps it was a small saint. However, it was too obscure and mysterious. He could not tell. Lin Xian also did not know if the cultivation of celestial fate was only suppressed for them or for everyone. If the native creatures of celestial fate were not suppressed, then it would be dangerous. In short, the tree demon in front of them gave them a fatal sense of threat. Should they kill their way through or enter the great sage tower? The crimson dragon asked. Li Hongxiu shook her head. She did not agree. She said that they had already arrived at the depths of celestial fate. There were many ruins left behind by ancient saints. We should properly comprehend them and improve our laws. The northern demon stood up and walked forward. Senior, we have no ill intentions. We just want to pass through here. As he spoke, he opened up his sky-piercing divine tree. Behind him, The illusion of a huge divine tree swayed and emitted a mysterious aura. The killing intent of the tree demon in front of them disappeared. His branches swayed and then gave way to a path. "Thank you, Senior." The northern demon and the others bowed. Then they walked forward and left this area. The crimson dragon and the others heaved a sigh of relief. The aura of that tree demon just now was too terrifying. Could it really be a small saint? Everyone continued on their way. Not long after, they stopped in front of a mountain. There was a palm print on it. The shadow of the palm was truly incredible. Although it was only a shallow print, there was blood left on it. Moreover, Lin Xian and the others discovered that it was the blood of at least a dozen saints. In other words, this palm print had killed more than a dozen saints, and they were not ordinary saints. The aura left behind by this blood was too terrifying. It was very likely that it was a small saint or a holy venerable. In other words, the one who left this mark was most likely a Saint King. They quickly comprehended it. They surrounded the palm print and quickly comprehended it. They were quite free to comprehend it here. A day later, a cold voice came from behind them. Lin Xian and the others suddenly opened their eyes. Who was it? The toad had also recovered. When it saw the situation, it immediately roared. "How dare you peek at me? I'll beat you to death. How dare a toad be arrogant in front of me?" 13 people walked over from the front. They were all wearing black armor, and their auras were unparalleled. "People from the great, desolate mansion?" Li Hongxiu frowned. "What do you want?" Lin Xian's eyes flickered. He did not see Yu Yu's figure. However, these 13 people were also incredible. They were all Fifth Heaven saints. 10 of them were in the mid-stage Fifth Heaven, and 3 were in the late-stage Fifth Heaven. The killing intent emitted from their bodies was terrifying. The leader sneered. "Lin Wudi, I heard that you dared to provoke our great desolate mansion and disrespect the previous generation's Huangzi. I'll give you a chance to live. If you kneel down and submit, you can live. It's the same for you people." He pointed at the northern demon, the crimson dragon, and the toad. Then he looked at the Morong Qingcheng and Li Hongxiu. "As for you two beauties, young master invites you two to enjoy the flowers and drink. You want us to be your slaves?" Lin Xian laughed when he heard that. The crimson dragon snorted coldly. "Who do you think you are? How dare you show off in front of us?" The toad jumped up. "Damn, I'll slap you to death. Hurry up and come over. Be my human pet. I'll torture you properly. Otherwise you're dead." Li Hongxiu snorted coldly. "What about Yu Yu? How dare he show off in front of us?" You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.